It's time to get up and get your day started. It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
Greetings and salutations on this very hot Tuesday morning, and it will only get hotter as the day progresses. We welcome you into Sports 56 Mornings, where we are live and local each and every day. It's the Tuesday, June 24th, 2025 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you, broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, it's where family and fun come together, but you know that by now. For all your pool needs, all your summertime needs, really for all your year-round needs, all your fun starts at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. 77 already at 7:01 a.m. It's going to be a copycat of yesterday, 94, 95 for your high today, with sunshine, then some clouds, then probably a pop-up thunderstorm. Had a couple of them in my neck of the woods yesterday, about a 60% chance of precipitation. Tonight, 76, cloudy, stray shower or thunderstorm possible, only about a 15% chance of precip tonight. Coming up on the show today, a lot of NBA news. Yes, the season may have ended with Oklahoma City knocking off Indiana for the title, but now the fun begins as another big trade happened late last night. There'll be a lot more action, I would imagine, as we move closer to the NBA draft, which begins tomorrow night. Remember, it's now 2 days. It's over 2 days with round one tomorrow and round two on Thursday from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. We will get to all of that information. The numbers are very good for the finals and the seventh game of the NBA final as far as the TV ratings are concerned. We will discuss that on the program today. Lang Whitaker at 8:05. He will join us from the Memphis Grizzlies. We'll get his thoughts on the draft and the direction that the Grizzlies may be going in. Of course, right now, all speculation, but there could be some more moves made by the time the draft starts tomorrow by Zach Kleiman and company. At 9:05, Mickey Barker's back from vacation as we talk golf each and every week during the golf season with Mickey, the golf administrator from the city of Memphis. And then at 9:25, our buddy Matt Infield from Action News 5. More on the Grizzlies. We'll probably talk some Tigers as well, as the Tigers on Tour is back in action tonight. We'll give you the details of that a little bit later on in the show. We got Humdinger's Trivia. That'll come your way at approximately 8:05. Give you a chance to win a $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's. We'll take your calls and texts, as always, on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. That's your lineup for today. Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you get rain where you live?
I did not get any rain yesterday.
Yeah, twice it opened up, thunderstorm, quick, left the area, and then returned for a second trip, but not an all-day thing by any stretch of the imagination. Didn't even seem like it rained when I went outside because it evaporated pretty quickly with the heat. But that's the way it's going to be, I think, from here on out for probably the next 4 months, as it always is here in Memphis. So a lot of NBA news, and we'll get to the trade that happened last night in case you missed it. Maybe you were asleep when it happened. But I saw the post on social media made by Tyrese Halliburton as yesterday it became official that he had torn his right Achilles tendon. Of course, everybody had known that after the initial report from Lisa Salters from the mouth of John Halliburton, Tyrese's father, who said it was an Achilles. And yesterday he had the surgery, as they tend to do, have an immediate surgery. We talked a lot yesterday about now Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, now Tyrese Halliburton, some huge names, especially from the Eastern Conference, but others have dealt with Achilles injuries as well. This is part of the long post from Tyrese Halliburton in his hospital room recovering. Man, don't know how to explain it other than shock. Words cannot express the pain of this letdown. The frustration is unfathomable. I've worked my whole life to get to this moment, and this is how it ends? Makes no sense. Now that I've gotten surgery, I wish I could count the number of times people will tell me I'm going to come back stronger. What a cliche, laugh out loud. This S sucks. My foot feels like dead weight. But what's hurting most, I think, is my mind. Feel like I'm rambling, but I know this is something I'll look back on when I'm through this as something I'm proud I fought through. It feels good to let this S out without you all seeing the kid ugly cry. He goes on and on and on. Well thought out message, and you can understand the frustrations of Tyrese. He probably felt like he let down not only his team and his teammates, but a whole city, which is not the case. They're not where they are without Tyrese Halliburton, but it's just sad. And I had reached out yesterday to some surgeon friends of mine. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get any of them on today because they're all going into surgery this morning. They're all working, the ones I knew. And, maybe there's a surgeon that's listening that can speak on this. But I was trying to get somebody to come on to talk about the rash of the Achilles injuries, the connection to the calf. When I first knew it was a calf injury, I don't know. I'm a layman. I thought, okay, well, what could he do? Maybe rip the calf muscle. I didn't know the connection to the Achilles and that it puts more stress on the Achilles when you're favoring the calf. And so I was going to try to get somebody on to kind of explain that. But there seems to be a rash of these, and they're happening to big names. But that's sad to just read Tyrese and what he had to say.
Yeah, again, I mean, it's for him mentally. You're Game 7. It is what everybody in their driveway as a kid is, dreaming of. Game 7 opportunity, and in the finals, and then even to get off to the hot start, hit 3 threes, and then have that taken away from you before the end of the first quarter with the injury. I mean, again, mentally, beyond the actual physical pain, because I can't guess as to how much physical pain there is in tearing your Achilles, and I hope that I never find out how much physical pain there is in tearing an Achilles. But yeah, the mental part of that is just an absolute killer for a guy who put together the playoff run that he did, and to have it just end that abruptly in Game 7 of the finals has to be an extremely difficult situation.
Speaking of Game 7, the numbers are in. 16.3 million viewers, the most watched NBA game since Game 6 of the 2019 NBA Finals, when they drew 18.59 million. So there you go, small market teams. That was going to be the downfall of the NBA numbers. Those numbers are absolutely terrific. Why? Because, first of all, it's new blood. I think people love new blood. They love the storyline of both teams. They love the fact that it was competitive really from the get-go. We had a lot of drama in the series. And then you can't say enough about a seventh game. Unfortunately, we got gypped of maybe a game that would go down to the wire because of the injury to Halliburton. But in any case, it was a thrilling 7-game series won by the best team in the NBA this past season, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Well, I mean, it's a Game 7. It's going to be the most watched finals game in those years because there was never a Game 7 during those times. I mean, by comparison, the last Game 7 in the NBA had 31 million viewers. So
in 2016?
Yeah. I mean, almost twice as many.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I mean, they're like, and it's funny because the NBA talks about how they don't care about the ratings and then they want to brag about ratings or whatever, but like, that's not a good number for a Game 7, really. I mean,
really? I thought because of what the numbers are normally with NBA games, I thought this was a significant jump up. I didn't know that compared to 2016, but that's 9 years ago.
Even with throwing in a Game 7, but again, it's a Game 7. It's going to be more watched than any other finals game that isn't a Game 7. It should be. I mean, you would hope it would be. They still only average, I think, 10 million for the series, which was down from just last year's series. So, again, I mean, it's I guess whatever. I don't know, a fine number, whatever. But by Game 7 standards, that's not some great number.
Well, yes, I didn't know that, first of all, but again, the viewing habits of people have changed. There are so many more outlets to watch different things with streaming. People are not watching, I don't think, overall as much television. I'm curious how that matches up to, let's say, Major League Baseball, the World Series. How do those numbers match up? Because I've been pretty critical of NBA numbers, and I thought 16.3 million was pretty darn good. I don't know if I could find these quick enough. Let's see. Okay. Last year on Fox, the Dodgers, of course, they ran away with the World Series, winning 4-1. They averaged 15.1. Game 5, the clincher, had 18.1. So a little bit more, a couple million more than they had for Game 7 in the NBA Finals. So, and that's during football season too. Now, I'm not saying that the game fell on a football day. I don't think it did, but it may have been the weekend. But yeah, I thought 16 was good, but compared to 2016, obviously it is not. But they were cheering it yesterday. They like you said, you spin it the way you want to spin it. But I thought that number was decent. So late last night, we had a trade, and I assume we're going to have a lot more. There's going to be a lot more activity as we are a day away from the start of the NBA draft. And the Boston Celtics, we figured, are going to have to do something as far as being able to cut out some of that salary right now, because their number is astronomical. They traded Drew Holiday, an Olympian, obviously an NBA champion with the Celtics last year, a great defensive player. He goes to Portland for Anthony Simons, the three-point shooting specialist, and 2 second-round picks.
Yeah, this Holiday was talked about a lot as one of the likely first to go from Boston. A guy who is getting up there in his mid-30s. Lots of future money on the books that they are able to get rid of with this trade. Took a bit of a step back last year offensively. Known obviously as a very good defensive guard and certainly a great veteran leader. I'm not sure. Quite frankly, I have no clue what the hell Portland's doing in this trade necessarily. But for Boston, they save a little bit of money for next season. And anything they could save is good because that's also lowers the tax bill and everything else. But even bigger, it gets rid of 2 more years on top of next year when Simon's contract will expire. If they wanted to let him go, they don't have to worry about that. But I honestly thought if that trade was going to be made, I would have assumed that Portland would get the draft picks, not give up the draft picks. Like, Portland should get the draft picks from Boston for taking on that salary of Drew Holiday. The fact that Boston gave up Simons and the draft picks makes no sense to me whatsoever.
No, I was a little surprised by that too. I don't know. Maybe Chauncey Billups thinks that, and management thinks, and ownership thinks that Portland can put together a competitive team. And you bring it in, even though he's getting up there in age, a shutdown defender. I mean, a really good player. By the way, still $20 million over the second apron for Boston. So there's another move coming, right?
Could be a lot more. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know how far down if they're trying to get below that apron or whatever. I mean, it's very for next year. That's going to really probably be possible because you got to take back salary in these trades. But again, Holiday, what they were able to do is get rid of $34.8 million for 26-27, and then he's got a player option for $37 million in 27-28, which I'm going to guess right now. I'll make the bold guess that Drew Holiday will take a $37 million player option 27-28. In Portland, I can understand Holiday. Maybe they think they can flip him like they did last year or I got that not last year, but 2 years ago or whatever year it was, they acquired him from Milwaukee and then flipped him to Boston. But I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of teams that want Drew Holiday right now. Again, he took a step back last year, dealt with some injuries, and with that type of money on the books for the future, he's a good guy to have around, I think, for Scoot Henderson and have a veteran guy. I just don't know that when you're taking on over $100 million of future money and giving up a guy who's 26 years old, pretty good, but on an expiring deal that you could easily trade somewhere else, possibly. It's just a weird trade from Portland's perspective. I don't quite understand the approach there, but there's a reason Portland has struggled here in recent years.
So there was some other news out there, excuse me, involving player transactions. And even though I don't know when things can become official and when they can't, the calendar is a little confusing to me. But Mavs center Daniel Gafford, who people have brought up as a possible, trading chip for Dallas if they wanted to move him. No, it looks like he's going to re-sign and add a 3-year contract extension to what he had, worth nearly $55 million. So now is P.J. Washington going to be available? I don't know if any of them are going to be available, but with the addition now of Anthony Davis and the Luka trade, it makes sense that you would move one of them. But it looks like, again, according to reports, Gafford will stay. Now, remember, Gafford, P.J. Washington, those pickups by Dallas propelled them to the NBA Finals 2 seasons ago where they lost to Boston. They were great moves. But when you go out and you get Anthony Davis, he's your guy, knock on wood, that he stays healthy. But, P.J. Washington could be a movable piece. But it looks like Gafford will be in Dallas.
Could be.
Stay in Dallas.
I mean, he's still very tradable. That's a very tradable deal. That's if 3 years and less than $20 million per season for a guy like that, I mean, you could still trade him.
That was out there, but when can it become official? Like, you could start dealing with your own players, your own free agents right now, apparently, or is this just a...
Well, yeah, that's a contract extension that doesn't even kick in next year. So, I mean,
so that doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Okay. For example, when can the Grizzlies start to work on Santi Aldama if they plan on keeping him? When can they offer an
Well, he's a restricted free agent. I mean, he's got to...
So you got to wait till the...
Once the new year starts on July 1st.
Okay, so you got to wait until, which would be Tuesday, week from today, right?
I believe, yeah. I think, you've got the whatever period where you could talk but not sign deals, all that stuff. And
so stupid.
And then I don't know what the exact date is that you can start signing deals, all that stuff. But, yeah, I mean, that's free agents can't do anything until then. But Gafford again was under contract for next year. That's just an extension for him, And then like certain trades, like the Desmond Bane trade is already official because it was done. But something like the Kevin Durant trade can't be done until the new year because Jalen Green's new contract has to kick in.
I know, but it's so stupid when we get to the draft and guys are drafted and they're not staying with that team. They're going to another team and they got the hat on of the team that they're not going to stay with. It drives me crazy. I wish they can clarify all that stuff. You know exactly where they're going and it's kumbaya, but it's never the case. It's always confusing when it comes to the NBA draft. Okay, so the NBA odds for next year are out. They came out pretty much immediately after the 7th game wrapped up of this year's final. ESPN Bet favors the Thunder once again to win it all in 25-26. They are a plus 220. Second on that list, Cleveland. The Cavaliers, who were a disappointing no-show in the postseason after the great regular season they had. You can get plus 700 right now on ESPN Bet to take the Cavaliers. The Knicks at plus 750. They don't even have a coach, but they have a good team. The Rockets now are plus 850 after the trade for Kevin Durant. The Grizzlies, by the way, are tied for the 19th best odds at 100 to 1. 19. I'm not going to ask you to put a list together of who you think right now is better than the Grizzlies and who's not, because it is an unfinished product at the moment. We don't know what other moves will be made by the Grizzlies, but there has to be something. But right now, when you look at the odds, Vegas doesn't think too highly of this team. Tied for 19th best odds. They're going in the wrong direction. Even though it was a trade that you and I both agreed, and many, many other people agreed that it was a good trade. Now, as Michael Wallace said yesterday on the show from Grind City Media, you can gauge the trade after the moves that are made from the pieces that you acquired. Right now, again, unfinished product. Right now, Orlando won the trade. But how does Bane do for Orlando? What does Memphis turn those 4 first-round picks into? Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, if they keep Cole Anthony, things of that nature, how do they do before you can actually gauge a winner and a loser of a trade?
Yeah, I would not expect the Grizzlies to have great Vegas odds right now by any means. There's still plenty to be determined. This is obviously going to be probably a pretty crazy offseason. I mean, when we've already seen 3 pretty big trades go down, and we're a couple of days after the NBA Finals have wrapped up. So with all of these teams, the teams that are trying to get below the aprons, all of these things, I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of big names that move around this offseason. So there could be a lot of shaking up. But again, when you're talking about the injuries that are out there already in the Eastern Conference, that can certainly change the way Eastern Conference teams approach the season. Looking at Boston and Indiana and Milwaukee without key guys. So yeah, this is going to be this could be like a historic offseason NBA. I mean, we don't know where this is all headed. By the way, June 30th at 5 o'clock Central Time is when free agency officially begins. That's when they can start talking and negotiating. July 6th is when they can sign contracts officially. So
Shams bombs start Monday night.
Yeah, they'll start coming rapidly after 5 o'clock on the 30th as teams start agreeing to deals.
Yeah, they'll rattle off about 20 in a row. All right, we'll take our first time out. When we come back, more from the NBA. I gave you the odds to win it all next year. How about the odds to win the MVP next year? Mark Stein reporting something about the Grizzlies from yesterday that I wanted to get into. And then we'll start to take a look at the draft. We've already begun, but we'll look at the draft history under Zach Kleiman and the possibilities for the Grizzlies in this draft, as right now they own a first-round pick and 2 second-round picks. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Sports 56 and 95 FM.
There is an army of people that work overnight, pulling the kind of hours most of us would never even attempt. And for those of you that live that life, we encourage you to end your shift by swinging by Sunrise on Jefferson or Sunrise East on Poplar. Not only will you find the freshest, tastiest, quickest breakfast made just for you, you'll also find a full bar at both Sunrise locations, so you can unwind like the rest of us with a cocktail to go with that breakfast. Overnighters, come to Sunrise and knock back a Bloody Mary and say, long night, lovely morning at Sunrise.
Hey, it's Mark and Ronnie at Dawson Hyundai South on Mount Moriah with his brand spanking new dealership. What's up, dude?
Randy, not only do I have a great new dealership, we've got service available that's less wait time than anyone in town. 16 service bays and immediate abundance available. Plus, a 2025 Hyundai Tucson SE, $288.75 per month and 3.99% available for 72 months. 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe SEL, $349.89 per month and 3.99 up to 60 months available. And a 2024 Hyundai Santa Cruz XRT all-wheel drive, $37,100
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Wally Hatchet serves breakfast all day and Southern comfort food for lunch. Hatchet fans love our huge omelets, breakfast Sammys, scrambles, and chicken and waffles. For lunch, check out the Mississippi pot roast, chicken fried steak, grilled meatloaf, or one of our best-selling burgers, lipstick on a cow. Pickup, delivery, and catering are also available. Visit WallyHatchets.com to order online. Wally Hatchets is located at 6439 Summer Avenue and open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Wally Hatchets. Count your blessings, not your calories.
This traffic report on Sports 56 is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Memphis and the Mid-South Pella Windows. The standard is affordable luxury.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's trying to build a little bit more here in the last few minutes, coming in from Fayette County into Shelby County and working your way down the interstate here on I-40 at Chambers Chapel, Canada Road, 385 Billmores Parkway. Trying to crank up a little bit more in the last few minutes out of Collierville towards Memphis, through South Memphis right now. Still moving on 55 northbound up by Brooks and Elvis Presley. Dandelions, nutgrass, crabgrass. Lawn Solutions says, hey, we'll put a stop to all that. Call Lawn Solutions today here in Memphis at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 7:28 the time.
Let me correct one thing on the free agents deal. Teams right now, because it starts a day after the finals ends, you can negotiate with free agents on your team. Although
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's
unless you're giving somebody like a max deal, most of those guys they're not gonna agree to anything because they want to see what their value is on the open market. But you can talk to guys who are on your own team right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought I had read, that you could start negotiating with your own guys, but I wasn't sure exactly when you can do it with other guys and then when you can announce it and all that. That gets a little confusing. Programming, not really a programming note, but a note out there for all you Tiger fans that want to check out the Tigers on tour. Tonight they will be at Huey's at Southwind from 6 to 8, their second of 4 stops. Coach Penny Hardaway will be on hand, as will Coach Ryan Silverfield, baseball coach Matt Reiser, and tennis coaches Chris Dorr of the men's team and Hayden Perez of the women's team. You can go online. You can RSVP, which does not guarantee you a table or a seat, so I'm not sure what you're RSVPing about. But anyway, you can go and check out all the fun tonight, 6 to 8. Enjoy the company of fellow Tigers. They'll have giveaways. You can win prizes as well. And that'll be a lot of fun tonight, 6 to 8 at Huey's at Southwind. That's not a real big place, is it? So I'm not sure. You better get there early, I would imagine. They had a great showing last week at the Owner's Box in Arlington. Okay, so a couple of things. On the Grizzlies front, Mark Stein reported yesterday, and we had already heard that Jared Dudley was one of the assistant coaches around the league, but a former player that was reportedly interviewed by, I guess, Tomas Isolo and Zach Kleiman and company for a gig with the Grizzlies, and Stein reporting that Dudley is a finalist for the lead assistant. So I would imagine before too long we're going to find out who this staff will be comprised of, because we don't have Jason March, we believe, right, will be retained.
Yes, I believe Jason March will be back. Yes.
Anybody else?
I believe that one other, Eric Schmidt, I believe, is going to be back as well.
Okay, so a lot of new faces, a lot of new, and the names we've been hearing a lot of are former players who are right now assistant coaches, even a former head coach whose name has come up. So we'll see what happens as far as that is concerned. Again, you don't have to have all those coaches in place for the draft, but you have to have them ready to go sooner than later, especially for Summer League next month out in Las Vegas. Bet Online has put out its odds to win the NBA MVP next season. Nikola Jokic, the favorite at 2-1. You would think maybe SGA would be the favorite. Nope, he's second, 9-4, which is a plus 225 if you think he can repeat. Luka at 13-2 is plus 650. Then Giannis 7-1, Anthony Edwards 9-1, Wemby is 18-1, Cade Cunningham is 28-1, Jalen Brunson is 33-1, and Kevin Durant is 50-1 now with the Rockets. Those are the top 9. So you go all the way to 50-1 with Kevin Durant. You don't see the name LeBron James and some other big names. Ja Morant, if you're asking, 125-1. If you want to throw some shillings down on Ja Morant to win MVP next season.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, again, unless Jokic gets hurt, I mean, you're between him, SGA, Giannis. I mean, it's hard. I mean, probably throwing Luka in there as well. Hard to beat them, and it's not a surprise that Jokic would be the favorite, because now that SGA has one, it kind of resets the table a little bit. When you have a year like he had this year, and obviously the team was awesome, everything else, and you don't have one, and the other guy's won 3 recently, it's easy to let's give him his one next year. He's already got one. It may just go back to Jokic because, well, he's still the best player in the league and puts up numbers that are absolutely insane.
So, looking at the Grizzlies draft history with or under Zach Kleiman, there has been some incredible hits. There have been some big misses. And there have been some no-brainers. So a mixed bag, which I would imagine would be the case for most general managers. I don't want to say all general managers because I don't think Sam Presti ever misses, does he? So it started in 2019 for Zach Kleiman when he took over and started making the call. And the Ja Morant pick was an obvious one. Everybody and their mom would have picked Ja Morant number 2. If Memphis had won the draft lottery, they would have taken Zion Williamson. And nobody would argue that. They would have had a parade here in Memphis. But Ja Morant falls in their lap at number 2. So, again, he was picked under Kleiman, so you got to give Kleiman the credit, but that was an easy one. But also in 2019, they were able to get Brandon Clark, who was drafted, ironically, by Oklahoma City for Memphis. They get him with the 21st pick. And Brandon Clark has been terrific. Now he's battled injuries the last couple of years. But that was a huge draft. That was following up the 2018 before he made the calls when Jaren Jackson Jr. was the pick. 2020, that's when they were able to get Desmond Bane with the 30th pick. Didn't they move into the first round? They didn't have a first-round pick? Was that the one with Dez, or did they have the 30th? It was picked actually by Boston for Memphis in 2020.
I don't remember how that trade went exactly. When they acquired that, how they had acquired that previously, or how that went, I can't remember.
But they made some kind of move to put themselves in a position. Boston obviously picking from, again, I hate that, but they got Desmond Bane, last pick of the first round. Huge. That's another win right there for Zach, and that's a first rounder. Also in 2020, in the second round, they took Robert Woodard from Mississippi State. And that didn't work out. But, again, second round's a crapshoot, although Memphis has hit on a number of them. 2021, not so good. That's the Zaire Williams pick, who was drafted if you remember, at the draft by New Orleans for Memphis with the 10th overall pick. Also in 2021, now I don't even remember this. With the 17th overall pick, they took Trey Murphy and then traded him to New Orleans.
Well, they traded the picks. They moved up to the 10th pick.
That's what that was.
Murphy was the 17th pick, that's what the pick
They
they
flipped
originally
with New
had,
Orleans.
and they traded up to number 10.
So that one was a disaster. That's a miss right there. But they were also able, now this is again, I think they moved up into the first round to get Santi at 30.
They traded up into the first round.
Yeah, they traded up with Utah. Utah picked him that night for Memphis. And Santi now, we'll see what happens with him as a free agent. But I think it was a hit with Santi. He's done well.
As a 30th overall pick, definitely a hit.
2022, Jake LaRavia, 19th. The question is, did they give up too early on Jake LaRavia? So that's a miss. Jake LaRavia, who knows what will happen? He's now with Sacramento. He started to play well for Memphis, and then he was traded. Also in that draft, they took Walker Kessler, 22nd, and then traded him to Minnesota. He ends up in Utah.
Well, that was, again, they
Part of
traded
that
up
trade?
from 22 to 19.
Okay. Yeah, I just need you to help me with my memory of this. Then they got David Roddy, 23, drafted by Philadelphia for the Grizzlies. David Roddy, questionable when they picked him, and after a seemingly good start, didn't work out. So overall in 2022, that was bad. They also had taken Ty Washington Jr. in the first round, number 29 overall, but he was part of that trade. And then they got Vince Williams, second round, 47th overall. Vince Williams, unfortunately, has been slowed down by injuries. We'll see if he can come back from it. But it seemed like, again, a second rounder, like a pretty good hit on Vince Williams. We'll see how it all turns out. In 2023, they took Marcus Sasser with the 25th pick. Was that part of the Marcus Smart deal?
Yeah, that wasn't their pick.
Yeah, it says traded to Boston.
Pick had already been traded.
Okay. They also got in the second round G.G. Jackson. And again, jury's still out on Jackson, but that could be another steal if he can materialize into what we saw 2 years ago in his first season with Memphis. He regressed last year. Last year, of course, we know they took Zach Edey, 9th overall, first team all-rookie. Jalen Wells, second round, number 39 overall, first team all-rookie. And then Cam Spencer, number 53. And Cam Spencer looks like a guy that has a chance to contribute. We don't know for sure, but has a chance. So, overall, there's more hits than misses. Second round picks of Jalen Wells and Cam Spencer and G.G. Jackson and Vince Williams. Late first round picks of Desmond Bane and Santi Aldama. Brandon Clark, 21. Obviously, Ja was a no-brainer. And the misses, there were some misses. Zaire Williams, LaRavia, seemingly, Roddy. But it looks like just many more hits than misses for Zach Kleiman. Why are you looking at me funny?
Yeah, I mean, people that want to try and be critical of Eddie, like they're and then, I mean, again, as I've said many times before, look before that at the drafts and how terrible they were.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was and Chris Wallace was criticized handsomely for that a lot of different times. I mean, I don't even have to go over some of the names. I mean, if you want me to, from Josh Selby to Tony Roten to Jamal Franklin to Jans Tima to Jordan Adams to Jarrell Martin to Wade Baldwin to Wang Zhen. Gosh, there were a lot of misses.
Hasheem Thabit, Xavier Henry.
I'm not even going back that far. I'm just like in from 2010 on. I think in 2010, yeah, they did take, that's Henry. But they did get Gravis Vasquez at the end of the first, and Gravis Vasquez was a hit. Josh Selby was a bad, 2011. But then the rest just, one after another after another. But you look at Kleiman, and yeah, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Just look at the names, and he has hit most of them out of the ballpark. And so it makes you really wonder what will happen here in this draft. He's been a little cold. He's been a little cold up until last year in the first round, right? The couple of years before that, a little cold in the first round. But I think he bounced back nicely because I think Edie was the right pick. And, hopefully Edie can stay healthy and can stop speeding. And then the second rounders are just one after another after another. But the track record doesn't mean that's what's going to happen here this time around. But the question is, what are you going to do? You're going to keep the 16? You're going to try to package and move up? You're going to move down? You're going to use those second-round picks? You're going to use them, but what are you going to do? You're going to stash? I mean, there's a player already stashed over in Europe, Babarovich, who was a second-round pick in 2023.
Gravis Vasquez was a hit?
Yeah, he had moments in the postseason that were big for the Memphis Grizzlies. Don't give me total stats. Don't give me anything.
He played 1 year. He scored 249 total points.
And he was huge in the postseason for the Grizzlies. Don't tell me about Gravis Vasquez. Don't you be disrespecting that name.
His 3.6 points per game.
Don't allow that to
12
come out of
minutes
your
per
mouth.
game. Huge hit in the draft. They nailed that one.
They did. He was late first-round pick, 28th overall. He was the third first-round pick by the Grizzlies that year. I don't remember Xavier Henry and Dominique Jones contributing in the postseason like Gravis Vasquez did. That shot he hit was, look, he'll go down in Memphis lore, man.
Maybe in yours.
You don't remember.
Exactly. He averaged 3 minutes a game.
It doesn't
or 3
matter.
points a game.
And then he stepped up in the postseason when they needed him. I don't care if it was short-lived. He did something for the Grizzlies. He did something. He did more than Roddy and more than LaRavia and more than a bunch of these guys. But the real.
If we're defining him as a hit, then we've lowered the standards for drafting.
He wasn't a miss. He helped out. As long as you help out somewhat. It wasn't long-standing.
If you call him a hit, you can't call Jake LaRavia a miss.
He was in the playoffs, man, coming through for him. LaRavia didn't do any. I mean, I like LaRavia, but he didn't do anything. He did regular season. I'm talking about the postseason. Balls of steel, my friend. That's Maryland pride right there. Don't you be disrespecting Gravis Vasquez. But the one that really, I guess the really bad one was trading Trey Murphy and ending up with Zaire Williams. And that not, but again, I'm not going to put an emphasis on the miss because he's had so many hits. And so there you go. Now we'll see what he can come up with in the 2025 draft, which begins tomorrow. Well, hopefully Memphis, through the draft, through trades, free agency, can pick up some more shooters. Because as we talked about yesterday, when you lose a Des Bane, and more than likely Luke Kennard will not be coming back, you lose shooting. So who's going to step up? Well, whoever it is, I don't know. Maybe they have used this revolutionary basketball training before in their lives. Maybe they've been to Shoot 360. Not necessarily Shoot 360 Memphis, but there's Shoot 360s all around the country. And it is used by players of all ages and at all levels to become better shooters. And when I say that, this is not hyperbole when I say Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, John Morant, Thaddeus Young, who's one of the owners of Shoot 360 Memphis. They use this system. They're not using it every single day, but they go over, they get their shots up. And that's what you can do as well by becoming a member of Shoot 360 Memphis with 2 locations here in the greater Memphis area. It just makes sense if you want to become a better overall basketball player. They're at Big Orange Road in Cordova. They're at 85 Market Street in Collierville. You can become a member at either or both. I would suggest you take a tour, let them show you how it works. It's cutting-edge technology with gamification. You get instant objective feedback with the analytics that are instantaneously and the one-on-one expert coaching that they provide at Shoot 360 Memphis. So give them a call in Cordova at 901-779-3176. Tell them you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings, or call them in Collierville or stop by 901-316-5500. Join, and you can join now on a monthly membership basis. You don't have to get bogged down with a long-term year or multi-year contract. Month to month, it's the way to go. The future of basketball training is here at Shoot 360 Memphis. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Everything today is technologically based. Well, except maybe you. If you're struggling with tech, no matter what kind, call Tech for You. Tech for You for TVs, home theaters, cameras, smart locks, digital storage, and more. Tech for You makes it simple and affordable. 697-9695. Make your home safe, comfortable, and up to date with Tech for You. Stop struggling with tech. Call 697-9695. Veteran owned and operated. Tech for You. Technology simplified.
The power. Make every mile count in your new Volkswagen from Gossett Volkswagen on the bike. Available right now, 2025 Jetta SN 2025 Taos, 4.9 for 60 months. 2025 Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport, 3.9% for 60 months. And 1,500 loyalty rebate on all 2025 GTIs, Jettas, Taos, Tiguan's, Atlas, and Atlas Cross Sport. Plus 5,000 off 2024 Atlas Cross Sport SELR line. But only 2 left, so you better hurry to Gossett Volkswagen. 1875 Covington Pike, or online anytime at GossettVWMemphis.com. That's Gossett, charging forward and charging less every day. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Volkswagen.
AC dealer for complete details. 2024 Atlas RC 226135, MSRP 51733, RC 227219, MSRP 52133. Must finance through Volkswagen Credit. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895 excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Approved credit dealer stock only.
Spring is in the air, and it's the perfect time to grill, chill, and save with Choates. Install a new generator, tankless water heater, or Carrier HVAC system, and you'll get your choice of a free Green Egg Grill or 36 months no-interest financing. Stay powered during storms, enjoy endless hot water, and slash your cooling costs this summer with a high-efficiency Carrier system, and grill some slow smoke barbecue on us. But hurry, this special ends soon. And if you're dealing with plumbing or electrical problems, Choates is here for you too. Give us a try and take $60 off your repair. Leaky faucet, clogged drain, broken outlet, lights flickering? Call Choates and save $60 on your plumbing or electrical repair service. Call 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com today. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Memphis faced top-seeded San Antonio in the first round of the 2011 NBA playoffs. The Grizzlies won their first postseason game in franchise history. In Game 4, Vasquez substituting for starting point guard Mike Conley Jr., who had gotten into foul trouble during his 13 minutes of playing time. He had 9 points, 2 assists. Memphis won 104-86. Vasquez, at the end of the year, traded to New Orleans for Quincy Pondexter. He would go on to lead the NBA in assists in the 2012-2013 NBA season, which included his first career NBA triple-double. He finished second in voting for the NBA Most Improved Player. It's not his fault the Grizzlies traded.
Well, again, if you want to talk about what they did down the line at somewhere else, I mean, you can't. He was not a hit in Memphis because he
helped them
scored
get their
9 points in one playoff game.
No, but he also had didn't he have that game-winning shot? Come on, somebody remind me out there. Text in. He had this game-winning shot. Vasquez helped them at least in the postseason, and then they dealt him.
I mean, a guy that averaged 3 points per game in 1 year in 12 minutes, I can't call that a hit in the draft.
Don't call it a hit, but his 1 year was more impactful than guys that have played 2-3 years for the Grizzlies.
In your mind, because you liked him, and he's from Maryland.
He did more things, more important things. It's all about the postseason. I don't care what you do during the regular season. It's all about the postseason.
John Texan says he was a hit. Also said LaRavia was a hit. Another texter says, I think we need to define what a hit is. Saying he did something doesn't necessarily spell hit to me.
Well, he did something in the important part of the season, the postseason. He helped the Grizzlies finally get off the schneid, get their first win as a franchise in the postseason.
Mac Texan says, so we're propping up Kleiman this morning? What does he have to show for his work? At least Wallace's team made a Western Conference final.
Here's all I'm going to say. I've been very critical of Zach Kleiman. In fact, if you remember, if you listen to the show religiously, I called for his firing. Now, the track record is the track record. We can analyze, which we just did, all his drafts. He has had more success than he's had failure in the drafts. Now, you have to turn it into something. This big three and that open window and how long they have together. And now, of course, Des Baines trade, which I applauded Kleiman. I think it's a good trade because he finally realized, even though he won't openly admit it, I'm sure, that it's not enough. The big three together, or the core three, however you want to term it, not good enough. And he said, we are not even close. So the fact that he went out and made a move, and there's probably some more moves to come, I applaud him for doing that. So I applaud him for really doing well for the most part in the draft, especially with some of these second-round surprises, Jalen Wells being the last one. I applaud him for now not sitting on this team, which is going nowhere with what they had, to make a move that was as drastic as it was, as eye-popping and earth-shattering as it was. But I also criticize them because they haven't gotten to the Western Conference Final. So, yes, I have been extremely critical, but I could also applaud somebody when they do something I think is the right move or they succeeded in a certain area.
If you want to be critical that they haven't reached the Western Conference Finals, that's whatever, fine. And certainly, that's the one thing about Chris Wallace. They did make a couple of nice trades that put together the core four, and it worked out great for them. But you can't argue Zach Kleiman's draft track record. Like, he's been way better than Chris Wallace drafting, obviously, but he's been nobody hits on every single draft pick in the NBA. That's impossible. There's a million busts every single year. I mean, Zach Kleiman has been very good at drafting.
Yes, but I guess to the person's point, I don't want to speak for this person, is that one thing is drafting. The other thing is turning that into wins and postseason success. And Wallace, having been the architect of the teams that got to the final, he gets the kudos for that. Whereas Kleiman has not been able to get this franchise to the Western Conference Finals. So obviously you look at that as a negative. But in the draft, yes, he's had more successes with individual players succeeding than, for the most part, Chris had. Chris, I think, had more failures. But the bottom line is, how does the team perform? What does the team do? Now, you could also say that, unfortunately, this Memphis team that he assembled, Kleiman, got hit with huge injuries, the Jaw suspension, and a lot of that derailed the possibilities of them getting to the Western Conference Final. You can look at it that way. But I don't want to make any excuses. They haven't gotten there. And so to me, it wasn't like, oh, you got to break up the team. You have to implode the team. But to me, it was like, you can't roll back out the same team and tell the fans that, oh, it's going to be different now. Even though they were sitting in second in the West for a long time last year, they ended up in eighth. They ended up in the play-in. And, yeah, there's an injury here, an injury there. Everybody deals with that. Everybody deals with that. The Grizzlies are a good team, as I said. They're a good team. They're not a great team. How do you become a great team? That's what he is trying to figure out now, and that's why he made the trade that he made. So I will applaud him for that. I will applaud him for, again, making some pretty good picks in the draft, especially hitting some out of the park with second rounders. But then I will also be negative towards the bottom line. And the bottom line is they haven't done anything. And that's why I called for his firing. I didn't like the whole Taylor Jenkins thing, the way that was all handled. They're putting their eggs in the one Isolo basket. But this offseason, if he makes the right moves, he can certainly make amends. But as far as the draft, yeah, if you want to look at that as a separate thing, more hits than misses. Right?
Yeah, I mean, the facts are the facts. I mean, it's just, I mean, if you're trying to be critical of Kleiman's drafting, then you don't like Zach Kleiman. And that's fine, whatever. But being critical of the drafting, no.
Our friend Chuck sends in the box score from the triple overtime game against Oklahoma City, which in the second round of the playoffs, when the Grizzlies lost 133 to 123, Gravis hit a huge three-pointer to send the game, I think, into either the double overtime session. Yeah. I think it was at the end of the first overtime. So, yeah, he had some big shots in that postseason, did some good things, but it was short-lived.
So he had a game-tying three and a loss in the postseason. I stand corrected.
Just told you what he did in subbing for Mike Conley.
9 points.
Hey, everybody, it's summer. Come get your new and affordable 26 All-Star Chevy Equinox and All-Star Chevrolet and Olive Branch.
9 points in a playoff
Financing,
game.
hey, they gave up on him after 1 year. Financing down to 6.6% for 72 months. New 25 Silverados with $6,500 cash back and financing down to 2.9 for 36 months. Go big, get a new Silverado 2500 HD with financing as low as 3.9 for 60 months and not one payment for 90 days because your good credit deserves it. If you work in law enforcement, first responder, healthcare, military, you're a teacher or recent grad, get an extra $500 bonus. They also have all the certified and the pre-owns you could want at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, like a beautiful Corvette Stingray and more Tahoes and Silverados than you'll find in one place anywhere. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. Get the most money back for it today. Vacation road trips and all your summer fun begin in Olive Branch with our friends at All-Star Chevrolet. So together, let's drive. You can also see all these great rides online at allstarautogroup.com.
David Roddy had 9 points twice in a playoff game for the Grizzlies. Hit.
When we come back, hour two of the program, we open up with Humdinger's Trivia. That'll be followed by Lang Whitaker from the Grizzlies. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Service Director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Was alive today, would he say this to you? Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading the whole book, you simply must So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
That's the whole point. It's a secret.
Why does Central Barbecue feel like they have to keep the ingredients of their dry rub a secret?
Because it's just that good. If people could find out the ingredients in Central Barbecue's dry rub, they could reverse engineer it and make their own Central Barbecue dry rub.
Reverse engineer? These aren't state secrets.
They may as well be. This is serious business. Central Barbecue already tells everybody that they slow smoke their meat for a full 24 hours over hickory and pecan and that there's never any sauce in the pit. They're giving away too much information as it is.
They're not giving away secrets. It's advertising. They're boasting about those things.
You are so naive.
It's summer in the Mid-South and deals have never been hotter at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. You'll find 0% for 36 months available on new 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander. Get 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. Car and Driver rated #1 best non-hybrid electric fuel economy with 39 combined MPG. Buy Mirage, only $17,675. 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV plug-in hybrid, $299 a month with combined range of 420 miles. Beats Mazda CX-90's warranty and mileage. And 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, $28,480 or $349 a month. Plus peace of mind with 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
MSRP 18175, PHEV SC 001,730, MSRP 42,615, Sport SU 06141, MSRP 28,980, includes all rebates and incentives with 5691 down, excludes tax on a license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
This traffic brought to you by Raleigh Tire Auto Service, your local family-owned business for over 60 years.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning, T-Dot. Still clearing up a couple of wrecks we had out here earlier. Seems to have increased a little bit more volume coming out of Crittenden County over from West Memphis on the I-40 bridge here at the Hernando de Soto Bridge. It's busier than it was 15, 20 minutes ago on 55 northbound up through South Haven. All that traffic coming up through South Memphis right now there at Brooks and Elvis Presley. Weimer's Jewelry is your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. So with that said, stop by and see them today at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 8:03 the time, hour 2 here on Sports 56 mornings on this Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you. We're live and local, broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 77 degrees, going to get up to 94 today. Variable clouds with scattered thunderstorms. Hot and humid. Heat advisory is in effect. Chance of rain now up to 80%. But again, this does not look like an all-day affair. Probably pop-ups like we had yesterday. Tonight, 76, cloudy, a stray shower, a thunderstorm is possible, but that will drop as far as the precipitation percentage to 15%. Hour 2, we got Lang Whitaker joining us in just a few moments. Hour 2 is brought to you each and every day by James Gaddis Jewelers. I'll give you more of the particulars later on in the hour, but it is Tuesday. That means time for Humdinger's Trivia.
That's right. And of course, if it's Tuesday, that means Taco Tuesday at Humdinger's over at Poplar and Massey is where you'll find them. You can also find them online. HumdingersRestaurant.com, where you can check out their entire menu of great food, plus get information about catering. If you need an event catered, they can do that for you. But on Tuesdays, the chicken and fish tacos are just $2 each. That's all day, each and every Tuesday, that you can take advantage of that outstanding deal at Humdinger's. But if it's not Tuesday, or if you're just not in the mood for tacos, of course, plenty of other options, from the po' boy sandwiches or the piri-piri burger, or maybe it's one of those great grilled fish options with some great toppings and sides, all kinds of stuff to choose from at Humdinger's. Again, at Poplar and Massey, and online at HumdingersRestaurant.com. If you are the first to answer our trivia question correctly, Well, then you'll get the $25 gift certificate from Humdingers. You can answer via text at 901-360-8255 on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line. That's 360-8255. If you've won in the last 30 days, you are not eligible and you only get one guess. If you try and guess multiple times, you are disqualified. 360-8255 is the number again to text in those answers. And here is today's question with the NBA draft coming up, of course, tomorrow night, round 1 of the draft. Which SEC schools have produced multiple number 1 overall picks in the NBA draft? Which SEC schools have produced multiple number 1 overall picks in the NBA draft? 360-8255. I'm not telling you how many there are. 360-8255. Text in those answers. First correct answer gets the $25 gift certificate to Humdingers.
Does it just mean more?
It does. It does.
So you know there's more than one, folks. I can tell you that. He is the long-time content creator for the Memphis Grizzlies and Grind City Media, the general manager of Grizz Gaming. He is our good friend Lang Whitaker. You can follow him on Twitter at Lang Whitaker. He joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. How are you, my friend?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. We had a debate in the first hour. I got to ask you. You're the right person to ask. Gravis Vasquez, top 5 all-time Grizzly, top 10 all-time Grizzly.
It got to be top 3, right? All time. This sounds like a debate that might have been happening on Twitter.
He's a top 3-point scorer. I'll put it. He's in the top Grizzlies all time to average 3 points a game in their Grizzlies career.
All I said, Lang, we went over Kleiman's draft and what he has done so far since taking over in 2019, and then we went back in history and looked at the predecessors. And I got the Vasquez, and I said he was a hit. And Eli said, what are you been talking about? He averaged 3 points a game. He only played 1 year here in Memphis, but he was actually a significant contributor off the bench in the postseason. He helped the team, and they did well. They got their first wins as a franchise in the postseason, so I'm giving him his accolades.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got.
I get it. Yeah, he was the guy, look, he played in the NBA, a decade?
Yeah.
6-7 years? Like, I have a hard time calling anyone who had that long of an NBA career a disappointment. You know what I mean?
No, I didn't tell what he did beyond here.
He's talking about with the Grizzlies. It was either a hit or a miss. And I said, well, that one was a hit. He had a good year. He was a backup. He didn't play a lot, but in the postseason he contributed. And then they traded him for Quincy Pondexter. That can't be a miss.
I mean, you're also getting into a bigger conversation here about players and like what are our expectations, right? Like we don't. Every guy's not going to come in and be a superstar, and sometimes you draft a guy to come in and be a backup. Sometimes you draft a guy to come in and hit 2-3 pointers off the bench or whatever. And I think I don't know. I wasn't here when he was drafted. I don't remember the expectations around Vasquez, but I think. The bigger picture, yeah, each guy has a sort of a different story around them when they get drafted.
Okay, so that conversation turned into taking some texts from folks and some interesting comments that they made when talking about Kleiman. Now, I've been critical of Zach during the end of the season once they fired Jenkins and all that. I called for his firing, but I also give him credit where credit's due. The credit of making the trade that they just made, because he came out in the exit interviews and said, we're not even close. That told me you had to shake it up. You had to do something, not implode. They're a very good team. But you had to do something because you got to put your money where your mouth is. And he went out and did it. So I'm giving him credit for that. Then we went through the draft, and he's had more hits than misses in the draft. He's had a couple that went screwy on him, went a little squirrely with this deal with Trey Murphy, and they ended up with Zaire Williams. That was a miss, but they hit on a number of them. And the second round, he has owned the second round. So I give him credit. But then one of the texters said, yeah, but at least his predecessor got him to the Western Conference Final, or at least was the guy in charge when they went there. He had a lot of misses, Chris Wallace did, in the draft, but they did get further than they have under the general manager now. And so I don't know if you blame GMs or not. We give a lot of credit to Sam Presti for what just happened in Oklahoma City. So I don't know how you look at the tenure so far of Zach Kleiman.
Well, yeah, but also Presti's been there for, 20 years? Like, Presti's been there for a really long time.
Yes.
He came with them from Seattle, so he's had a long time to kind of figure this out. And I remember 2 years ago, they were awful. They bottomed out. The Grizzlies beat them by 60-something points here at FedEx Forum. So it's ups, there's downs, there's all that stuff. You figure it out. And I think, to compare the tenure of someone who's still in the job to someone who's out of the job is sort of apples and oranges. You got to look at a full body of work, and we haven't seen what the body of work is. And to your point, I think Zach and his staff, especially with drafting, they've done such a great job. Just off the top of my head, guys who weren't lottery picks, lower picks, Desmond Bain, Brandon Clark, Jalen Wells, just the last couple of years. Drafting Santi Aldama, all these guys they drafted later in the first round or second round guys who have become good NBA players. And look, you flip Desmond Bain for a haul. I was thinking last night when you saw that Drew Holiday, Anthony Simons trade, when you saw the Kevin Durant trade, like the Grizzlies got more back for Desmond Bain than anyone's gotten back so far in this trade season. And that was the guy who was the 30th pick in the draft. So, the Grizzlies, I think, have done a really good job of identifying exactly what they're looking for in the draft and going out and finding that guy. And, yes, not everyone has worked out perfectly, but for the most part, I think it's been a pretty good run by this front office.
You just mentioned in their drafts, generally under Kleiman, they have a guy they target, and they will do what they have to do to go get that guy. They've made trades seemingly in every draft, up, down, whatever, to figure things out. Do you expect the same thing to happen tomorrow night?
I don't know. Sure, but just only because they've done that every draft. It seems like every year they've traded up. I think it was every year, and I don't remember last year if they ended up trading up or not, but I don't think they did. Last year might have been the first year they didn't trade up, but they've been trading up for a long time. Once they target somebody and find someone they want, it seems like that's sort of their MO is to take what it takes to go get that guy, spend what it takes to go get that guy. And I would assume this year, if they can figure out who they want, if that guy's not going to be there at 16 or with those second round picks, then they'll that's part of this Bain trade. Now you've got a haul of draft picks you can use to package with other stuff. If you don't want to just use them straight up, you put them in a package, you do whatever to use them and utilize them and get the guys you want in this draft.
Lang Whitaker joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. All right, so right now, at the moment, they have these new assets. They've traded Des Bain. They're a worse team right now at the moment. But that subsequently will change, because if it doesn't, then something's screwy. Something went wrong. But when you look at the team right now, losing Desmond Bain or trading Desmond Bain, more than likely not going to bring back Kennard. You wonder what's going to happen with Santi. Probably, I would lean, toward bringing him back. But shooting-wise, there's certainly some issues. They don't have the plethora of shooters that they had, losing two of them right off the bat, as I just mentioned. And then you have some other issues with Edey on the shelf, probably for several weeks to maybe a month or so. I'm just guessing at that to start the season as he battles back from surgery. Where do you think their biggest needs are, and what do you think has to be addressed and can be addressed in the draft?
Yeah, to me, you need a big, clearly. You got to if Zach Edey's going to be out for any extended amount of time, and I have no idea if he is or isn't, but right. If he's going to be out for a couple months to start the season, longer than that, I think a big is somebody who either you take that Marvin Bagley kind of spot on the roster and goes, if you don't bring back Marvin Bagley, that's a spot where you could try and upgrade that center position a little bit. And then I think, to your point, the shooting, the one thing I took away from these NBA finals is you can't have too many wing players. Mm-hmm. Look at those Pacers and the Thunder. They just had this sort of endless army of guys they kept sending in to play the wing and to be sort of secondary ball handlers. And I was talking about this yesterday on one of the Garden City media shows. I wonder if what you should do in this draft is just try to identify the most athletic, defensive-minded players you can, and then just try to teach them how to shoot once they get here. Because you look at Caruso and Dort and Nembhard and all these different guys, Neesmith, who were sort of like defense-first players and then developed good three-point shots. I wonder if that's sort of the next evolution of the NBA, trying to identify those kind of guys. So, but either way, like to your point, yeah, you lose Desmond Bane. You don't know what the future is with Kennard. You need some three-point shooting, and you kind of can't have enough of that in the NBA today. So I would imagine you're going to look for someone who's can play the wing, can play the two, can play the three. I think Jalen Wells, they kind of think can be long-term, play some there at the two. So I would think you're looking for a three or a two, someone who's athletic, who can defend and who can shoot, and kind of just raise your overall level of your rotation. The other thing then, though, guys, is we haven't really seen Coach Isolo's system in full effect, right? We saw it for like 10 games at the end of the season and the playoffs, but even he said they only had 2 practices. Like, I don't really know what he's looking for. To be honest, maybe he's looking for more defenders. Maybe he's looking for just creators. Maybe he's looking for shooters. So I think that kind of got to play into all this too. Is trying to find some guys who fit this system also.
Yeah.
Do you expect that Santi Aldama will be back? And do you have any guess as to what kind of money Santi is going to be getting?
Let's go backwards on the contract. The whole NBA contract thing is so crazy now that it all sounds like monopoly money. It's like it doesn't feel real. I don't know what he's going to get. I would have guessed, I think he's eligible for like 4 years, probably around 20 a year, something like that. As for whether or not he'll be back, I think that's probably like 50-50 at this point. I mean, The Grizzlies are trying to figure out a lot of different stuff. You talk about shooting. He's one of the guys who can shoot. Yeah. He's also one of those guys who gives you a lot of versatility, can play 3, 4, 5. It feels like, to me, just on the outside looking in, the way that Isolo's system might kind of work out, Santi might be a valuable guy in that system, being able to play lots of different positions and pass and do different things. So I would think, the other thing is there, like you mentioned, the Grizzlies drafted him. The Grizzlies developed him in the G League. The Grizzlies have kind of, seen him go to where at the beginning of last year, he was a 6th man of the year candidate. They've kind of watched him go from where he started to where he is now, and I would imagine there's probably some sort of sentimentality there where you're like, hey, this is our guy. We've done all this with him, and we want to continue watching him develop and get better. So I would think that if they can figure out a way to keep him without overloading the salary and all that stuff, that's a guy you'd want to bring back.
Although he could be a sign and trade candidate.
True.
Because there's a number of teams I read yesterday that are interested in his services. I mean, a big guy like that who can shoot. But your point about, I keep going back to your point about the defense in the draft, because you're so right. Watching that NBA Finals, watching all those guys, like Lou Dort, first of all, physical as hell, great defender, and it seemed like every time he shot a 3, he made it. Same deal with Alex Caruso. That's all just bonus with those guys doing what they did. And the guys on Indiana, a plethora of those type of players. So I think you're right about the defense, but you're also right about we don't know what Isolo wants to do. But I don't know how much you've done on this draft as far as like players are concerned. I don't want to put you on the spot, but
no, I'm good. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, as far as the Grizzlies are concerned, at 16, if they don't move up or move down and stay at 16, we're guessing, we're speculating right now what would be available. Give me a couple of guys who you think may be available that they may look at.
So I'll throw in a plug here because Gary Parrish and I did a whole series of draft videos.
Oh, okay.
That are on GrindCityMedia.com. We did an 8-part series where we dug in.
Oh, wow.
To all these different draft guys and kind of went through different positions. And Michael Wallace and I did a video where we specifically looked at Grizzly options.
Oh, perfect.
And at that 16th pick, I think, it kind of depends which way you want to go. Do you want to go for the big or you want to try and get a shooter? The guy who I love at 16 for the Grizzlies is Nick Clifford from Colorado State. I mean, Tigers fans are going to remember him from the NCAA tournament. But he's a big dude. He's 6'6", without shoes. So, you know, maybe a little bigger than that. He's athletic. He can shoot off the dribble. He can create. He can play some defense. He can do all those things. The one thing that kind of works against him in this draft is he's quote-unquote old because he's 22, and everyone else is like 19 or 18. So he's considered older, but that's something that hasn't stopped the Grizzlies previously, you know, finding veteran guys and bringing them in. So I think Clifford would be a real fun pick for this Grizzlies team. He's kind of projected right around that 16 mark in most of these mock drafts. Another guy who, if you're looking at bigs, I think there's two names I keep seeing. One's Danny Wolf, who played at Michigan last year.
I like him.
The facilitator, you know, really good offensive player. The other guy to me who's interesting is Maxime Reynaud, the guy who played at Stanford. And he played 4 or 5 years at Stanford. I think 5 years at Stanford. But he's 7'1", and he shot 6 3-pointers a game. And so he's comfortable being on the perimeter. He's comfortable stretching the floor. He feels like sort of like what all the NBA teams are looking for these days in that stretch 5 position. But he's legit 7'1", 250, big dude, big body, averaged 10 rebounds a game because that's something else we should have mentioned. You know, without Zach Edey and without Desmond Bane averaged 6 rebounds a game. So you're losing 2 of your, you know, probably top 2 rebounders out there on the court. So I think that's a place where a guy like Reynaud could help you out and kind of contribute on that end of things too.
The one guy that seems to come up a lot is Cedric Coward.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll make it to 16. What do you think of him? And then also Liam McNeely.
Yeah, the crazy part with Coward, I mean, he and McNeely are sort of in the same boat in some ways because they were both injured last year. You know, Coward only played, I think, 7 games for Washington State, and McNeely played a lot last year for UConn, but was hurt the whole year, kind of banged up and not really himself. If you want to go backwards, McNeely, you know, played at Mount Verde with Cooper Flagg in high school and was a teammate of his. Went to UConn, was kind of expected to be a more, I think, integral part of that offense, but because he was hurt and because he was out, he never really kind of was what people thought he was going to be. But he's got legit size. He's 6'7", something like that, and I read that he shot, on open 3-point attempts last year, he shot over 40%.
Wow.
So when he didn't have to create off the dribble, and then, you know, if you're playing alongside of John Moran, you're going to get some open 3-point attempts out there. So, and he has that size, and you know, if he stays healthy, I think that's a guy who a lot of NBA teams are kind of throwing his name around. Coward's the one who, to me, is so interesting because 3 years ago he was playing Division III basketball. He's kind of worked his way up, and at Washington State had this great start to the season, and then hurt his shoulder and missed the rest of the season, and had signed with Duke. You know, he was going to go to Duke this season, and Gary and I talked about this, but like to Gary's point, like if Duke gives you a scholarship, like they don't think you're going to the NBA. Like they're not going to waste a scholarship on a guy who might not show up on campus, right? And they're not going to waste time recruiting this. So all the indications were this guy was going to go to college this season, but he showed up at the combine and just blew everyone away. He's 6'5" without the shoes, so 6'6" something, but he has over 7-foot wingspan. His standing reach is almost 9 feet. And then he just shot the lights out at the combine. So he's sort of this prototypical small forward, super athletic, great shooter, all those things you look for. I think the question with him, he's a little bit older. He's turning 22 this fall. But also, like, we haven't seen him do it against anybody other than, like, Division III teams and teams that, you know, that Washington State played last year at the start of the season. Then again, Jalen Wells kind of came from a similar background, you know, and it didn't have this long body of work that you kind of look for an ACC or an SEC player, or Big Ten player, whatever. So I think there's a lot of sort of questions around both of those guys. But Coward is the other guy, and if you watch some of his interviews on YouTube, you know, very well spoken, understands his situation. You know, up front, he's like, "Hey, man, I kind of have to go into this draft now. This is because I've had this run, and I don't, you know, even if I wanted to go develop, I can't because my stock is so high right now." So both of those guys are interesting. The Coward thing to me is so cool because a month ago, I don't even know if he would have been a first-round pick. And now he's getting projected middle of the first round, and I've seen some drafts have him going like top 10. So for him to kind of be on this trajectory is pretty remarkable.
Lang, last thing for you. I'm not sure how deep you and Gary got into, but probably got into it deep if I know you both. Second round, it's purely a crapshoot, but it seems like Kleiman has hit a lot out of the park. They have 2 picks, so I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they'll even package and do something to move out of it. But is there a player or two that is probably going to be going in the second round that's not getting a lot of fanfare that you think, oh, man, here's going to be the next one that turns out to be a really good NBA player and nobody's talking about him?
Well, one guy who before I get to him, I mean, the other option there, I think, if you're the Grizzlies, is think about like the draft and stash where you take a player who's a year or two away and let them play in Europe or somewhere else. You know, the Grizzlies are kind of at the point now where your 15 roster spots and your two-way spots are almost full. And so, you know, I don't know if they're going to take – also, you know, youth has been this thing with the Grizzlies. Like, you kind of have enough youth at this point. So I don't know if you want 3 players coming out of this draft that you expect to play right away this year. But one of the guys who I think is probably going to be a second-round pick, but I think has been is kind of being underrated at the time, is a guy from Memphis, Cam Jones, who played for Marquette, you know, and was playing sort of a 2-guard role, and then this year kind of became more of a lead guard, and his numbers kind of dropped some from where they were. But heck of a player. He's got size, 6'5", a guard, kind of can do a little bit of everything. That tough mindset, was second-team All-American. And I think he's one of those guys who's kind of just fallen between the cracks a little bit in this draft. Again, he's a senior, so he's been there a few years. He's kind of older, and that works against you in these draft situations. The other guy, I don't know where he's going to go. I've seen him all over the place, and we'll stay local with this one too, is Chaz Lanier from Tennessee.
Yes.
Like, that guy can shoot the lights out. If you're looking for shooting, like, you know, maybe that's an option. He's got size. You know, he was a guy who a couple of years ago wasn't as highly regarded as he is now, but I think all of us watched him play so much this year. Like, that's a guy who I think some teams are going to end up with him, and you know, maybe that's a guy who can become an Aaron Nesmith, can become a Nembhard or one of those guys on your team. But if you're looking for shooting, like, I think you could do a lot worse than Chaz Lanier.
Great stuff by Grind City's Swiss Army Knife, Lang Whitaker. You see him everywhere on Grind City Media. He's the general manager of Grizz Gaming as well. He does it all. Follow him on Twitter at Lang Whitaker. Enjoy the draft, Lang. Thank you so much for your time. Always appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Take care. We will take a timeout. We'll come back. We have a winner, I hope.
We do.
We have a winner. We'll tell you who that is and what the answer to that question is when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Here, I'm an actual customer of Pella Windows and Doors of Memphis in the Mid-South. I was so impressed, I endorsed Pella as the standard in affordable luxury. And now, Pella's even more affordable. 12 months, no interest, no payments, plus 50% off installation. Mention you heard this on the radio and get another $500 off. I'm telling you, as your consumer investigator, as their customer, make the wise choice of Pella Windows and Doors of Memphis in the Mid-South.
The power. Make every mile count in your new Volkswagen from Gossett Volkswagen on the bike. Available right now, 2025 Jetta SN 2025 Taos. 4.9 for 60 months. 2025 Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport, 3.9% for 60 months. And $1,500 loyalty rebate on all 2025 GTIs, Jettas, Taos, Tiguan's Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport. Plus $5,000 off 2024 Atlas Cross Sport SELR line. But only 2 left, so you better hurry to Gossett Volkswagen. 1875 Covington Pike or online anytime at GossettVWMemphis.com. That's Gossett, charging forward and charging less every day.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Volkswagen.
See dealer for complete details. 2024 Atlas RC 226135, MSRP 51733, RC 227219, MSRP 52133. Must finance through Volkswagen Credit. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895 excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Approved credit dealer stock only.
One thing Bell Tavern can say with confidence is that you won't find a better selection of bourbon, whiskey, and scotch anywhere else in Memphis. Maybe anywhere. With signature cocktails like the 3 Whiskey Old Fashioned, the Barrel Aged Manhattan, and the Spicy Margarita, paired with the whiskey flights like the Tennessee Bourbon Flight and the Maker's Mark Flight. There are more amazing drink options at Bell Tavern than you could possibly work your way through in one visit. In fact, it would take many, many visits to Bell Tavern to even make a dent in the extensive selection. Grab an Uber and head to Bell Tavern.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's picked up a little bit more volume on 40 westbound as you come in from Fayette County into Shelby County here, coming past Germantown Parkway as it gets a little bit heavier inbound on 51 out of Millington down through Woodstock. It's trying to pick up even more from the south there on 55 northbound up through South Haven. Dandelions, crabgrass, Lawn Solutions says, hey, we'll take care of all this for you this summer. Make your yard look beautiful. Call Lawn Solutions 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:33 the time. All right, Humdinger's Trivia. We have a winner. What's the question again and the answer?
Yes, the question was which SEC schools have had multiple number 1 overall picks in the NBA draft. And I did not tell you how many there were as far as those schools are concerned. So, Elijah, you're pretty good at this. Do you have this one?
I know Kentucky is one of them, of course, with all the guys they've had. LSU has Ben Simmons and Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
Past that, I don't know. Those are my 2.
You're going with those 2. Nobody else.
That's right.
All right. That is correct. There's the
Good job. I'll pat myself on the back. That's the 2 I had.
Kentucky has had 3 in John Wall, Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns. As you mentioned, the 2 with LSU with Shaq and Ben Simmons. None of the others have produced multiple number 1 overall draft picks in their history. We actually had 2 people tied, but one of them's won in the last 30 days, so they are disqualified. So we have ourselves a winner. We'll be contacting the winner and letting them know how to get your $25 gift certificate to Humdingers. You know the thing that amazes me about the number 1 overall draft pick? North Carolina has not produced a number 1 overall pick since 1986.
Wow.
That blows my mind with all of the guys that have come through and all the success they have had. Not one number one overall draft pick since 1986.
So you have that list in front of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to ask Elijah something, but while I'm doing that, look from 2000 to now, to 2000 through 2024, and tell me how many of them are busts. The number one overall pick. But I'm going to plug Elijah because Elijah, who people don't know, on Twitter at Elijah Segars, it's ELISHASEGARS. And Elijah's not only good at guessing trivia, but he's terrific at everything, including doing mock drafts. So you have a couple of mock drafts, I guess one version, then the newest version up right now. They can go to where to find that?
So I will be posting it to YouTube later today. I'll post the link to my Twitter. You can go and watch the video version of the first round mock draft that I did yesterday.
Okay, and right now, what do you have the Grizzlies doing at 16?
So for the Grizzlies, I had a couple players around this range, but for my latest one, I had Carter Bryant from Arizona falling to 16. He's a 3-and-D wing. May not fall to 16. A lot of mocks have him projected in the 10 to 14 range. He's a great connecting piece. Comparisons that I would give to him are guys like Toumani Camara, who was an all-defensive player this past season, Tari Eason out of Houston, who is just a defender who plays with his hair on fire, and Carter Bryant, a 6'8 wing, has the upside to be a really good connecting piece, but I also like guys like Cedric Coward, and Rasheer Fleming is a name that I haven't heard thrown around the Grizzlies very much, who I really, really like. But I think the Grizzlies would be best suited with a combo wing, a guy like that.
Okay, check it out. Check out the mock draft from Elijah. All right, Eli, how many since 2000 have been busts? Just one?
No, you would have Kwame Brown in 2001.
For some reason, I thought it was 1999. Okay.
Andrea Bargnani in 2006.
Okay.
I mean, Greg Oden ended up being a bust because of injuries.
Yeah, but he'll go down as a bust.
Anthony Bennett.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Markelle Fultz. I mean, he's hanging around the league, but certainly has not been anywhere near what you would expect out of a number one overall draft pick. Those would be guys, like DeAndre Ayton's career has gone downhill now, but he wouldn't be a bust.
So basically shooting at about 20%. 1 out of every 5. Roughly. That is a bust at number one overall. Wow, that's a high percentage. It shouldn't be that high.
All of those guys, everybody else other than one, and you would include Ayton actually in this. Ayton has not made an all-star team. Those other guys have not made an all-star team. Every other number one pick since 2000 has at least made an all-star team.
Yeah, and look, you rattled off the 5 guys between.
Well, and except for Risa Shea, obviously from last year, but
right. But you rattled off the 5 guys between Kentucky and LSU, right? Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis, John Wall was tremendous. Shaq goes without saying. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is not a bust, but Ben Simmons has not lived up to close to the expectations of being the number one overall pick. There was red flags when he couldn't lead LSU into the postseason in the 1 year he was at LSU. It didn't seem like his heart was into it, but he didn't play well. Then again, Georgia, they didn't go to the postseason with Anthony Edwards, and he's been pretty good. But yeah, he's not a bust, but
he's nowhere near a bust.
No, but he's not even close, right? You would agree.
Well, his career, he got off to a great start.
Derailed by injuries.
And then he got derailed by injuries. I mean, he was the rookie of the year. He was 3-time All-Star, first-team All-Defense twice.
Yes.
Like, Ben Simmons' career at the beginning, I mean, he was a star.
You know who you can kind of liken it to a little bit? Penny. Right? The great start, the all-star teams. Penny was tremendous, and then the injuries.
The other thing, too, I mentioned, it blows my mind that North Carolina hasn't had one since '86. Also blows my mind that Kentucky didn't have one until John Wall in 2010.
Wow, really?
I mean, it's crazy to me. Like, how did Kentucky not have one prior to John Wall, and how has North Carolina not had one since '86?
All right, when we come back, yesterday at the end of the show, there was some news that came down on the new PAC and their TV package. Some more information came available yesterday afternoon. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Got some NFL I want to get into as well. We got a busy third hour with Mickey Barker and then Matt Infield from Action News 5. Second hour sponsor is James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. They are your family's jeweler. You're looking for that special engagement ring. You're going to pop the question this summer, this fall. Make sure that James Gaddis Jewelers is one of the jewelers you check out for those beautiful diamond rings, those engagement rings, wedding rings, personally designed wedding sets. They have a price point to suit everybody's budget. They know there's a lot of competition, so they make it easy for you. If you want to get a couple $1,000 ring, you want to get a $100,000 ring, they have that for you at James Gaddis Jewelers. It's all about variety. They went over to Antwerp, Belgium once again, I guess about 2 months ago, and brought back all these beautiful diamonds. So if you are looking for that, head on over to James Gaddis Jewelers. If you're looking for a special present for a special someone, watches and rings and necklaces and bracelets and pendants of all types. They got that one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry, and they're always adding to their collection. And also, if you have an issue with your jewelry, bring it to James Gaddis Jewelers because they are full-service jewelers with 2 bench jewelers ready to serve you daily. James Gaddis Jewelers, again, in the heart of East Memphis, 4900 Poplar, been a part of the Memphis fabric for 60 years. That's 60. Check them out on the web, gaddisjewelers.com. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5. Saturday 10 to 4, closed on Sunday. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for a limited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun, 2770 Whitten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always ship with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
When you're hungry for good meat, trust the family that has been feeding Memphis since 1967. Charlie Hogan and the Triangle Meat Company, formerly Children's Meat Market. Trust Triangle Meat for fresh beef, hamburger, and roast. Trust Triangle Meat for delicious pork ribs, chops, and butts. And trust Triangle Meat for tender chicken you'll love. Eating lots of pork, Triangle Meat Company has all the meat you need. Shop Triangle Meat Company, 8 to 5, Monday through Saturday, 4790 Summer Avenue, 901-683-1192. Fresh or frozen, big or small, trust Triangle Meat Company.
I've got it on the line. Marty McNeil over at Gossip Volkswagen Germantown, and he's ready to put you in a new Volkswagen today.
That's right, Randy. Guess what I've got available now? 2025 Jettas and 2025 Toyotas, 4.9% for 60 months. I've also got 25 Atlas and Atlas Cross Sports, 3.9% for 60 months.
What else you got over there, Marty McNeil?
On top of that, get 1,500 loyalty rebate on all 2025 GTIs, Jettas, Teos, Tiguans, Atlas, and Atlas Cross Sports.
And you were telling me earlier you got $5,000 off 2024 Atlas Cross Sport CLR lines, but only 2 left, so you got hurt.
So come see me today, Marty McNeil at Gossip Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, or shop online at gossipbwg.com. And remember, your future is what you make of it.
To Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
So at the end of our show yesterday, this story came down about the new Pac. They're calling it the Pac-12. There's not 12 teams yet. I'm not going to call it the Pac-12, but you know what I'm referring to. They announced that CBS and Paramount would be its primary TV broadcaster, but and live stream, of course, with Paramount. But there's only so many games. The championship game in this new Pac, and then a few other regular season games. Most of them will be on CBS Sports Net and on Paramount. So, according to what I read, the guesstimate was that the total package for that part of their TV rights deal is only going to be about $1 million per school, which is chump change. And it's a 5-year deal, which will roll into 2031. So starting in 2026, of course. They got one more year before this thing comes to fruition. Texas State remains the odds-on favorite to join as the 8th football playing school. Gonzaga will be there, but they don't play football, and 8 will be the minimum requirement. The deal, they say, is technically an extension from what they already have because Oregon State and Washington State play some of those games on CBS and Paramount. But a secondary network, another live streamer, is Apple TV. And according to the story, Apple TV and the Pac-12, before the Pac-12 dissolved, had a deal in place because Apple TV was looking for sports programming, where it was going to pay their members somewhere between $21 and $23 million per school. It was a huge contract. And then, of course, it went kaput. So if Apple TV is still interested, they could make a new deal with Apple TV, but that money is nowhere close to, it's not going to be close to 23 or 21 to 23 million per team because, first of all, you've lost all that power. You've lost USC and Oregon and Washington and so on and so forth. So I don't know what they can get, but that's a possibility. There could be another streaming service. It depends on whether or not they have the ability to do that. It may be restricted by a deal if they do sign with Apple TV. So I don't know what goes into that. But financially, again, it's not even close to what it needed to be for Memphis to even have considered back last fall doing something like that, having football go to the Pac when
that was all sports.
What's that?
That was all sports.
Also, yeah, it was all sports, but it was it was crippling. But even for football only, where your expenditures would be less, it's still not conducive. It doesn't make any sense right now financially. So we'll see what happens again with Apple or maybe some other service. But right now the money does not appear to be there from CBS and Paramount, even though they're making such a big deal about it. It's only a limited amount of their games that's going to be shown on CBS.
Yeah, I mean, the CBS deal is minimal. As far as CBS, again, CBS Sports Network, fine, whatever, but the actual CBS games, very, very minimal. And
yeah.
I mean, Apple TV, like, I can't imagine a whole lot of people rushing to Apple TV to watch Washington State or Oregon State or Boise State. Like, I mean, there's the Apple TV I can't imagine paying hardly anything for that. That's not going to sell a bunch of subscriptions to Apple TV. Oh my gosh, you guys got Boise State now?
Yeah, it's interesting how people, depending on their allegiance, look at this. I saw a couple stories yesterday, and one, it said, well, now it solidifies their spot as a group of 6 because they have now the 8 football playing schools. Then there was another story where it said that puts them back in as a Power 5. No. It's almost somewhere in between, but no, it's absolutely going to be a group of 6. Assuming, and I can't imagine it's going to go belly up, but and you had that lawsuit, and I don't know if they settled it on that lawsuit, but with Mountain West and the Pac, but the Mountain West isn't going anywhere. Sun Belt's pretty solid. MAC's what it is. And, of course, the American leading the way. The numbers that I saw yesterday in a story, I think it was a Jonah Dillon story. We already knew the numbers that the American made from 2 years ago, but it was shown in comparison to the other group of 5 conferences. I mean, it could be a lot better for Memphis. It could be a lot better for all those schools in the group of 5 if they were in power conferences. But, man, it could be a lot worse if you're not in the American. It's not even close what the American's bringing in financially compared to what the MAC's bringing in, what the Mountain West is bringing in, so on and so forth.
Yeah, again, and that's why the Mountain West and their deal that they had, and people acted like the Pac-12 suddenly with those teams was going to get a bunch of money, which never made any sense. That's why the whole point when Memphis was considering it. Why would that conference suddenly get a whole bunch of money with a bunch of Mountain West teams that have a terrible TV deal?
Right.
The TV's made it clear they don't care about those teams. And yet some people thought somehow the Pac-12, when you put a different conference name on those teams and TV was going to love them.
Yeah, I just love the way Dr. Scott has handled this whole situation. Even though there's been an outcry from people, even some media members that said, no, they had to take that offer. No, I mean, you didn't have to take it, and he didn't take it. And again, they are really steady in their pursuit of getting into a power conference. Yeah, if something fell into their laps where it was great money to go football in the Pac and the Big East open their doors for all the rest of the sports, including men's basketball, okay, then there'd be a conversation. But that's not happening. And like Dr. Scott said, there's no offer from the Pac. The money doesn't seem to be substantial. So you can't move. And you won't move. Again, the American is the best of what's left. And you're part of that. But the goal is still to get to one of the big boys. And again, I talked about this the other day. I don't see any more movement for a while. And I know it's constant movement, or it seems like it is. But I just don't believe once they get this deal done for 26 and moving on to probably 20, you think they'll sign a 10-year deal? The new contract with the college football playoff? You think it'll be less than that?
No, I'm sure it'll be the 5-year.
So 26 through 31. Okay.
I think that's what the TV deal is with ESPN. I can't remember exactly what that TV deal is.
Okay.
How many years that TV deal with ESPN is, but I believe it's 5.
Even though you can add and subtract and all that stuff, it's certainly doable. I don't think it's going to be done. I don't think we're going to see movement for a number of years now to come. And that's the tough situation that somebody like Memphis is in. I think that movement, for a while, the door's closed.
I couldn't find somebody.
Thank you, Siri. Now, if all of a sudden there is discord between the SEC and the other power conferences, they split with their buddies from the Big Ten and want to do their own thing, and something gets crazy, or those two break away, and then the whole thing implodes. But for right now, Florida State, Clemson, they've settled that situation, I think, with the ACC, right? I don't see an SEC pursuit of those schools necessarily, maybe in the future, but not in the immediate future, not even in the near future. So I don't see where we're going to have that kind of movement.
Yeah, through 2031-32 is the new TV contract for the playoff.
Okay. NBA, we talked about this. If you missed it earlier, the Celtics late last night traded away Drew Holiday, the defensive specialist, the Olympian representing the USA, gold medal winner, traded to Portland for Anthony Simons, the three-point shooter, and a couple of second-round picks. The Celtics trying to shed some salary, but there's still moves to be made. As I mentioned earlier, they're still trying to get off that second apron, and they got a lot of money to shed. Who else will they deal? Is Derek White a possibility? Would they be able to have somebody take Kristaps Porzingis off them if they wanted to go in that direction? Remember, no Jason Tatum next year, or at least we don't believe so. with the Achilles injury and the rehab. But that's the situation right now. The Knicks will go into the draft apparently without a head coach. Adam Zagoria, friend of the show, reporting that they did interview Timberwolves assistant Micah Nori, but he says most certainly will go into the draft without the head coach. Did Taylor Jenkins get interviewed? I know that was the game plan. Okay. Taylor and Mike Brown.
Yes.
But nothing has come from that to this point. Do they need a head coach going into the draft? No, but I think it would have been helpful to have one. To know what that coach prefers, what he wants to do. But you're not going to apparently have that. All right. When we come back, hour number 3 of the program, we open up, as we do every Tuesday during the golf season, talking golf. Mickey Barker from the city of Memphis, golf administrator, is back after a week of vacation. He will join us. And then Matt Infield from Action News 5, more on the NBA draft, more on the Grizzlies' possibilities. We'll get into that. Got some other news involving the University of Memphis that we'll touch on. We'll continue to take your texts. Calls will be tough to get in right now because of the guests we have lined up in hour 3, but texts always, we love to read them when we can. 901-360-8255, the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. You can text in at that number.
The Knicks, I believe, only have, the 50th pick of the draft? Like, who cares if you have a head coach to draft 50th?
Yeah, that's right. That's a good point. Unless they made some kind of deal, but more than likely that won't happen.
And again, their rosters, they're drafting the coach to fit their roster they already have. They're not drafting a coach to tell them we need to make these changes, or we're not going to bring in a coach to make these changes and here's because to fit my system.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Now it depends. Does that mean then that they're going to go after somebody that's kind of a lackey? Thibodeau was not. Are they going to go away from now they've been turned down by a lot of teams to talk to big name coaches that are sitting head coaches right now. But did they go away from somebody that may turn around and snipe at James Dolan or snipe at Leon Rose? Instead, bring in their guy who is not going to make waves. There's a big difference between, let's say, well, at least on the surface of a Taylor Jenkins and then a Tom Thibodeau or maybe even a Malone. Guys that are very vocal and will have an out. I don't know what went on behind closed doors with Taylor, so I can't say for sure. Maybe he is like that. But Malone certainly was, and it cost him a job. There are some that are very outspoken. Maybe the Knicks want to go in a different direction. We'll take a timeout. You're tuned into Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
CozyEarth.com and use code CozyComfort to save up to 40%. That's CozyEarth.com. Code CozyComfort. What happens to
successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and win. Talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure that I am one of them. So if you or someone you know is thinking about selling a home, remember what other real estate agents have been in the business doing. Then call me, Cheryl Dunn Rosenberg at 483-0546, or email me at memphisrelocate.com. I will wait to hear from you to take advantage of this good market. That's 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Thank you.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church downtown Memphis.
This traffic brought to you by Raleigh Tire Auto Service, your local family-owned business for over 60 years.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Still a bit more volume in the last few minutes trying to get up to Midtown in both directions, actually north and southbound here at Lamar as it increases down I-40 coming in from Fayette County into Shelby County. Still moving, however, here on 40 westbound from Germantown Parkway all the way down to Sycamore View Road. Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. Stop by and see them this week and shop and save a lot of money locally here at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is Original Sports Station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:02 the time. Final hour for us today here on Sports 56 Mornings, the Tuesday, June 24th, 2025 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Elijah Seegers with you. We're live and local, broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 84 degrees, going to get up to 93 today. About an 80% chance of scattered thunderstorms and rain more widespread this afternoon. A heat advisory is in effect. That chance of rain's at 80%. We got golf plans today. That would ruin it. 76 tonight for a low. Stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. Hour 3 of the program is brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More, located at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake, Mississippi. They also have a store in Little Rock, Arkansas. Family-owned and operated local business that specializes in flooring and carpeting. They have ceramic and porcelain tiles of all types, SPC and WPC vinyls. They have backsplashes for your kitchens and bathrooms, plantation shutters and blinds, and so much more. They sell at wholesale. Skip the middleman, save you lots of money in the process. They will come to you wherever you are. Just call Jenkins. They'll come to you, give you a free estimate. And if you go with Jenkins, they'll get the job done in a 2-week turnaround. But for contractors and do-it-yourself homeowners, it makes sense to get all your great material there from Jenkins, because you get it at a discounted price, and it is top-of-the-line material. Give them a call at 662-469-9350. Great family, great service. They're open Monday through Saturday. It's Jenkins Floors and More. Before we get to Golf Talk with Mickey, I saw this yesterday. FedEx naming Brad Martin the new board chairman after the passing of Fred Smith, and, of course, name very familiar to everybody in this area. And Brad's been a big part of the University of Memphis, and has been on their, I think, Board of Regents and a big part, and he's done so many great things at different companies throughout his career, and I'm sure he'll do a bang-up job at FedEx. Time now to talk some golf. The Mick is back. The golf administrator for the city of Memphis, as Mr. Announcer Man said, the Hall of Fame golfer from Lipscomb University. He is Mickey Barker. You can follow him on Twitter at MickeyBarker1. Good to be back, not good to be back?
Well, it's always good to be back home, but it's always hard to leave vacation.
I know. How was it?
It was great. Yeah, great weather. Got to play a little bit of golf. Got to go to the beach a few times, so it was great. A lot of fun.
Got a little color in your face. I could see that.
I do have a little bit more color today. So.
Do you always worry about burning?
Yeah, I wear a lot of sunscreen, a lot of hats. I usually have the big white line around the top of my head.
Oh, the Stewart sink.
Yeah.
We call it in the business the Stewart sink.
It's tough for us people to avoid. You
Yeah.
got to remember.
The mesh hats across the back, you get the dots across the back of your head.
Oh,
So-
my gosh.
I get the half moon in the back of the head a lot. I had that going this weekend. You got to try and get rid of the half moon back there.
Yeah.
So what do you got to do? You just have to make sure you go out one round and don't use a hat?
Take it off a little bit here and
Yeah.
there, maybe mowing the yard, take it off a little bit.
Yeah, because you got to be careful. You
Absolutely.
don't want to burn the noggin.
Sure.
So you played once down there.
Yeah.
Where did you play? Good course?
Yeah, really nice country club called the University Park Golf Course or Country Club, and it was part of a 27-hole facility that was maybe a mile from where we were staying. They were really nice to let us come over and play, and super fantastic condition, and there's a lot of great golf courses down in the Sarasota area.
Do you, when you play public courses, not so much private and country clubs and things like that, but do you take notes? Do you look and see maybe things that they're doing in certain cities, the communities you go to?
Yeah, absolutely. I always looking to see what everybody else is doing. If we can improve our product better by taking something that they're doing, best practices. This golf course was a private course, but they did a really good job of putting down in curves of where the cart paths were, of coming back and putting some cobblestones in there, because apparently golfers cannot stay all four wheels on a cart path. That's just something they can't do. They'd done a really good job of that and taking care of their landscaping stuff. So the little things were done well. Cart paths were edged, which is something that is extremely time consuming, but really makes it look nice.
When you have a course, and there are obvious certain points in a course where the golf carts, like that's where people are going to get off the path and go make their way wherever. Those obviously get worn out. Is there a certain periods of time where you'll put up ropes or whatever just to try and give that grass a break?
We do, yeah. Especially you come off a tee box and there's a sharp curve.
Yeah.
That, especially if it goes to the left, because the golfers are going to go to the right for the most part. We'll put up some ropes. We'll put up some directional signs to keep them from going making them scatter a little bit in different spots. And we'll take those up and down. It's really hard on the maintenance staff because now they got to get up off the mowers, move them, mow that down, put them back up, make sure they're up neatly. So that is time consuming. But again, that's just part of your day-to-day agronomy practices.
All right, so you jump back into the fire. Now we get into the busy season. So what's coming up?
Yeah, we had a really good turnout for the parent-child at Overton. We got rained out the Saturday of Father's Day, which is typically when we have it, and so Austin was able to push it back to the following week. We had over 100 players in that. Chris and Will Myatt shot 9 under par in 9 holes, which was fantastic. Wow. Yeah, they made 1 par and 1 eagle, so it made it pretty nice, pretty good score.
Was that the number you were supposed to have, or you were supposed to have more than that, though, for the 5, if it was on the first? Wouldn't you have more players if it would have been the original date?
Well, we did. We had it at that many, 104, 108 players, and then some had to get out, like Woloshin and his son had to get out, but then we opened it up and we filled those spots right back up. So it worked out okay. So
Why did they have to get out?
I'm not sure. Something about their schedule didn't work out.
There's a lot of parents and children that want to play golf together.
They do. They really do. And it's a fun event where, it doesn't matter if your son or daughter is 5 years old or 95. It really doesn't matter. And the golf course was playable. Also, I was talking to him this morning. He moved the front tees up for the younger kids up in the fairway where they could be a part of it. They could, even if they topped it, it could roll it down by the green and use their shot. So it's a really fun event.
How do you decide on a daily basis where the pin placement's going to be?
Well, with a public course like we have, we just look for, since we move the pins so often during the season, we look for places that haven't been used as much. If they're playable, where there's not too much slope or they're not too close to the edge, then we just try to move them into very playable areas. Now, if we're going to have a really busy day, say like it's the 4th of July weekend, the Friday before the 4th, or in this case would be the Saturday after the 4th, we know that's going to be an extremely busy day. We typically will put our pins in the middle of the green, a little bit back of center. so that it helps to speed up play. If you bounce it on the green, it's going to roll past center to about, and that's where we want to put the pin. We want to make it as easy and as accessible as possible.
It's like it's Audubon, like on those greens now, like you've got some areas that you could put up some really difficult pins if you want to.
That is correct. You could really slow your pace of play down. And so for a normal day when we're not having an event, we want to make those pins on really busy days as easy as possible.
So is the next big tournament then the MAC?
We have the Pine Hill Championship coming up this weekend, this coming Saturday. We still have several spots left for that. We're going to start tee times around 10:30, depending on how many we have. So that the golf course is in great shape. We'd love to have more people come out for that. So the Pine Hill Championship is this weekend, and then for the regular amateurs, the MAC Championship, which will be the third week in July. And we're closing in on about 50 entries so far. We'll have somewhere between 120 and 150 players for that.
Will you set up tough pin placements for the MAC?
We will. We play 2 days and then have a cut. We play at Galloway, Fox Meadows in the first 2 days, and then we cut to Audubon for Sunday. The first 2 days, we'll have reasonably tough pins. We'll probably try to have a mix of 6, and 6. Mm-hmm. 6 difficult, 6 easy, and 6, that are kind of medium difficulty pins. And then on Sunday, we'll test them a little bit on Sunday. So.
What is the all-time record for low score for 3 rounds total?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but somewhere around 15 under par.
Wow. Okay.
I believe Mac Cooper shot the 1 year. I want to say 16 under.
16 under. I think that's about right. Yeah.
Slacker. So did you watch any of the golf while you were on vacation?
I did. I was able to watch Saturday's round. We were taking a little break, and we watched Saturday afternoon, watched some golf there, and the note from that day was how bad Scheffler played. I mean, he and Thomas in that final pairing, CBS had to be sick about that. That they played like 10.
I watched a lot of it. Thomas had a 9 quadruple on a par 5. But Sunday, it's always interesting at the Travelers. It always comes down to the final holes.
Right.
I feel for some people couldn't care less. He's English. He's, go USA with Keegan Bradley. But I felt bad for him. I was rooting for him because he just seems like a damn good guy.
I was really kind of pulling for Tommy Fleetwood too. I'm usually not ever pulling for, a European,
right?
Especially to beat an American like that. But, Keegan, that's kind of his home crowd up there. I was kind of pulling for Fleetwood. And for some reason, younger kids around here and really across the country love Tommy Fleetwood. I have a good friend of the family. He's 14 years old, and Tommy Fleetwood's his favorite golfer.
Really?
So, and you could hear as Tommy was walking from tee to green or green to tee, all the kids were yelling at him. And I'm not sure what the connection is other than he's just a really nice guy.
Must be the long hair.
It's got to be I'm telling you, it's the long hair flowing out of the back of the cap.
The kids are drawn to the long hair. Yeah. The question that comes out of this is with Keegan Bradley and the Ryder Cup and whether he should choose himself, I guess. I picked me. What do you think? To me, especially since he didn't make it a couple years ago, they got overlooked in that one, and we all saw the heartbreak on Full Swing and all that stuff. Right now, I think it's really hard to say he's not one of the 12 best guys that he could have on the team.
100%. I think there's a really good chance he's going to be in the top 6 by the time we get to that date, as well as he's playing. But he has to pick himself. He had an interview I heard yesterday that he had said, I'm not going to play unless I win. And so now he's won. I think he's definitely going to put himself on there, and because he thinks, and rightly so, that he can help the team better than anybody. He's definitely one of the top 12. But he is now ranked 7th in the world, official world golf rankings, and 9th in the Ryder Cup standings, which is kind of weird. But yeah, he will be on the team as a playing captain.
Well, more importantly, it's not even how much he thinks he can help the team. Those players are going to encourage him to pick him because they know how good he's playing.
Absolutely. And you watch what happened on Sunday. He stood on 18T, regardless of what Tommy did. He knew he had to make birdie.
Yeah.
And that was his plan. And what did he do? He pipes it down the middle. He hits a 9-iron in there. He hit the right club into the green to, just outside 5 feet and just drilled it.
We haven't had it obviously since 63 or whatever with Arnie, but do you think being a captain and playing, does that take anything away from either side of it? Is it too much to ask a player to be the captain? Does it take away from being a captain the fact that you're also trying to play?
I don't think so. Also, Keegan was saying yesterday that he chose the vice captains based on the possibility that he might play, knowing that Jim Furyk's one of his vice captains. He's got plenty of experience being the captain, and the other guys he really trusts, and so he feels like he can go play, turn it over to them, and not have to worry about it. And so it'll make a great storyline. They're going to be talking about it constantly, and especially when it comes down to Sunday. Keegan, are you putting yourself out first? Are you going last? Or what are you going to do there? So I think that'll make really interesting television.
I don't know how it was set up back in '63 when Arnie last did it, and before that, Ben Hogan, guys like that. I don't know how many vice captains they had.
Right.
I'm guessing there's more vice captains now than they had, and yet they were able to do it. And so I think they have enough. He can play, he can concentrate on that, and still do his job. I don't think there's any question. You have to have the best 12 out there, and he is one of them.
Yeah, he definitely is. I think back in the early 60s, the media obligations were way less than what they are now. Obviously, they didn't have to worry about winning because they always won back then. But I think that's the biggest thing is the media obligations that the captain has to do, because before and after the rounds he's going to be in there talking more than he would be kind of getting ready or winding down from a round.
Because it comes down to if he ends it, because we've won 3 or 4 straight on our soil.
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
If we lose, then it'll be, did that take away? Did that hurt in some way?
Oh, he'll be criticized.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. They will say, well, he should not have been a playing captain. He should have focused on, but still, going in, he has to look at who are the best 12 players he can put on that team, whether they're ranked 9th or 24th or 30th. Who are the best 12 that he can put on the team?
Or it may be the criticism of they shouldn't have made Keegan Bradley a captain so early because of the fact that he was still a guy who could qualify to play.
I think that's a really good point. I think, to me, he wasn't playing as well when they made the decision or when that was going on. And I think, in my mind, they were really trying to make up for the heartbreak
Zach
that
Johnson.
he had.
Yes.
That Zach didn't pick him.
Yes.
And so I think that was more than anything. But you're right. I think that's a lot of the criticism will go there, which will be to the PGA.
Zach Johnson looks worse and worse with every one of these Ryder Cups that come up because he picked his buddy and it was not the right move, and history will show that. But with Keegan Bradley, I think you guys are right. I mean, right now I'm looking at the standings, and he's sitting in number 9. I mean, who knows? He may, as you say, he may go into the top 6 and be automatic anyway. But you got Scheffler, Schauffele. Schauffele's not playing that well. Spawn, Henley, DeChambeau, Justin Thomas. We know Justin Thomas great in international play and all that, although you're watching him, he has struggled in certain tournaments this year I've watched. Morikawa's 7th, then Ben Griffin, who's had a great year. Keegan's 9th. Harris English 10th, had a good tournament this past weekend. Maverick McNeely, and then Brian Harman's 12. Okay, after that, so again, you're not necessarily going 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but they would be the next in line. Then you got Novak, Cantlay, Burns, Hoagie, Cameron Young, Berger, Finau's 19, Glover's 20, McCarthy, who's a very good player, 21, Wyndham Clark, on and on and on. Right now, who would you put on the team outside of the 6 that are automatically qualified? You're saying Keegan Bradley, so who are the other 5 that you would put on the team?
Well, I definitely would put Morikawa, Griffin. Ben Griffin's playing fantastic.
Yeah.
He's pretty clutch too. He can stand in there and take the heat. Harris English plays great on big golf courses, which Bethpage is going to be a big golf course.
So you're up to 10.
Yeah, put him. I would probably go Cantlay, even though he's not playing as well, he has the experience and he plays great with Schauffele. That's where I'm looking. And then I'm kind of jumping down probably to Daniel Berger, maybe Tony Finau.
Really?
Yeah, because Berger, he's tough. He's really playing a lot better. And then Finau, again, big golf course, bomber.
No Sam Burns?
No, Sam, I like Sam Burns a lot. He's great friends with Scheffler. But closing the deal, he struggles.
And no McNeely, no Harmon, no Novak. They're all ahead of Cantlay.
It's all relative because if you compare him to most normal human beings, he hits the ball a long way. But like that, Brian Harmon would scare me on that golf course because he just doesn't hit it far enough.
Correct. Yeah.
They won't pick him.
I don't think they'll pick. He's a bulldog, but he is tough. He's strong in match play, head to head, really good. So.
All right. So this upcoming week, anything people need to know about other than how to make a tee time?
Well, just bear with us. While I was gone, we got tremendous amounts of rain again, and so we're trying to dig out from that. And this is aerification time, as we talked about before. So bear with us through the rest of June, and we'll be ready to go July.
I know one thing: after aerification, you want heat. You've gotten the heat.
You want heat,
spades.
You want heat. You want rain. Just time to get some more top dressing down, and but we'll be in great shape come 1st of July, 4th of July weekend. We'll be ready to go.
He is the golf administrator for the city of Memphis. He's Mickey Barker, the Hall of Fame golfer from Lipscomb University. You can follow him on Twitter at MickeyBarker1 and catch him every Tuesday right here on Sports 56 mornings during the golf season, talking the great game of golf. Thank you, Mickey.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
We will take a timeout. When we come back, Action News 5's Matt Infield will join us. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Pools, and more pools. Yes, it is pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is already booking pool installs, so you need to buy now and get on that list. 24-foot pools start at $19.99 install. Liners are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in the in-bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Mid-South, if you're looking for a great deal, get to Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat for the employee pricing plus sales event. 2025 Dodge Hornet GT. Buy it for $26,457 or $344.68 a month. That's over $5,000 off MSRP. 2025 Jeep Compass Latitude 4-wheel drive. Over $6,000 off MSRP at $23,541 or $297 a month. And 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 5-7 rear-wheel drive. Over $11,000 off MSRP at $36,869 or just $511.87 a month or 1.9 for 72's available. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike or online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motorcars.
TS3A 46076, MSRP 31590, Compass ST 567703, MSRP 29765, Ram SN 728 346, MSRP 48260, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title licensee dealer for complete details, offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. That's 800-694-1127.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to the retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. Also stores in Cleveland, Mississippi and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects call 662-469-9350 First, Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. No shortage of radar out here, especially in parts of Arkansas this morning, just up from Forest City as you come down I-40 there, headed towards West Memphis. It's busy right where you would expect in the Midtown area on 240 north up by Lamar. Still moving over here at I-40 at Chelsea. Dandelions, crabgrass, lawn solutions here in Memphis says give them a call today. They'll take care of your yard, make it look beautiful this summer. That's Lawn Solutions, 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This hour brought to you by James Floors once again, and Greg Gaston.
Rolling right along on a Tuesday morning. Welcome back to Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you, broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios. Without further ado, we bring in our good friend from Action News 5. You know him, you love him, you can't live without him. Sports reporter, anchor Matt Infield, joining us on the program. Matt, how are you today?
Hey, I'm really good. You know, I'll never say no to you guys, but I do appreciate you slotted me in at 9:25 today instead of 8:05. Let me sleep in a little bit more. No, I'm kidding. Although I appreciate the extra hour of sleep. I'll always take that. But I'm doing great. Busy week ahead. We've had a little bit of a slow time in sports around here, at least. So looking forward to getting into it.
I can't promise you that will happen again. We like getting you on whenever we can, but I did take that in consideration. By the way, follow Matt on Twitter at Matt_Infield. Okay. Before we get you've talked on your Action News 5. You had possible trades that you think the Grizzlies could look into, the draft as well. We're going to get your thoughts on all of that. I did want to bring up this one topic to start this out, though, and ask Eli as well. Look, we've, especially myself and Eli as well, been in the business a long, long time, and I was in TV for a long time, as you know, Matt. Of course, you're currently in there. There was a lot of criticism from Game 7 of the NBA Finals for two different things. One was when Tyrese Halliburton went down, that there was the cameras on him so much that it upset his mom and other people, that they said it was just too much. The guy's injured, cut away, don't continue to show the video of him down on the hardwood. The other one was when the game ended, and it was a heartbreaking loss for Indiana. They're going to the locker room, and I think it was TJ McConnell, and the cameraman's taking a shot of him, and then the media relations person for Indiana gets in front of the shots, trying to not allow the person to take the video of him, even though it wasn't in the locker room or anywhere where he was restricted. Do you think it's, hey, it's just part of sports? You got to do a job, and you should be allowed to do the job?
So, on the Halliburton point, I did bring up the point to a couple of my friends during the game. They showed the replay of his Achilles popping. Obviously, we all saw, the ripple through the calf, and everyone knew what it was right away. I feel like they showed that maybe a couple too many times. Like, at a certain point, it's like, all right, we get it. But on, him in the locker room or whatnot, and especially the McConnell thing when he's walking off the court, and I saw someone say it might have been his mother that he was walking into her arms or something like that. To that point, I say, hey, listen, I get it. It's a terrible moment. It sucks. You worked so hard, and you want to win that game, and it's devastating to not win it. Listen, man, it's Game 7 of the NBA Finals, and ESPN had every right to have access to that. And if you don't want to show it, that's fine. Get to your spot where they don't have access with cameras and whatnot. But no, I don't really have much problem at all with them showing that part, because listen, when you sign up and get the riches that come with being an NBA player and being on a team that makes it to Game 7 of the Finals, sorry, someone's going to win, someone's going to lose, and obviously it's going to be really tough for the team that loses. But I don't really have much of a problem with with the camera showing that. It's part of it, and I think you just have to accept it when you're part of this.
Eli?
Yeah, I mean it's the agony of defeat, man.
Right.
It's part of the story.
Yeah, right.
Like that to see the emotion of how it hits these guys, and it means how much it means to them. That is just telling the story of a Game 7.
So media relations is in the wrong. They're in the wrong because this happened before.
I think it was his mom.
I think it was
his mom saying tell the camera to get away.
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay, but it has. I thought somebody
media
said
relations would be hugging him.
No. I thought that they were shooing him away from taking a shot of the mom and him. But there have been media relations people who've gotten in front of cameras on injured players or what have you, and have gotten in the way of things. When again, that's the whole question about whether or not it's their right to do that. And I don't think they should be doing that.
Yeah, I think the only thing I had not really an issue with, but it was like, all right, enough on the 7th time showing Halliburton's Achilles explode up close. I'm like, all right, we get the point here. We don't need to see this again. But everything else, I think, was fair.
That just surprised me how much they showed. I was like, wow,
yeah.
Because it's obviously not as bad as some of the but it yes,
a bone pops
you can
out or
see
something.
that and you know exactly what it is. And they kept going back. I'm like, wow, I can't believe they just literally keep showing this thing over and over again.
Down and to the
maybe
left.
Maybe one more time coming out of halftime, just for anyone who might have been tuned in late. But we saw it 4 times in the first half. 3 more in the second half. We get the point.
Yeah, I guess to me it would be how gruesome an injury is. I don't want to look at gruesome injuries. That injury was not gruesome, but I understand your point about doing redundancy over and over again. All right, so let's start with trade possibilities. I know you put something together. Give us your take on maybe some direct, and who knows if they'll make a trade for the draft or during the draft. Maybe there'll be things after the draft, but who knows? But what do you got? What you come up with, Matt?
Yeah, okay. So I did last night on Action News 5. I did my 3 favorite trade targets for the Grizzlies. I didn't get too complicated as far as exceptions and 3-way trades and all this stuff you could do on Twitter and whatnot. I just kind of kept it kind of simple because I felt like that was the easiest way to convey it. So number 3 player for me, I'll go 3-1, was Herb Jones from the New Orleans Pelicans, who is a fantastic perimeter defender. So he's a young guy too. He's only played 4 years in the league. 2 years ago, 5th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, while shooting over 40% from 3, 50% from the field. Last year, had a shoulder injury where he got hurt. He played, and then he ended up getting surgery on the shoulder. Only played 20 games. I don't know what the Pelicans are going to do. They strike me as a team that probably should move some guys and get some draft picks. I don't know if they want to hold on to him because he's younger, but him and Jalen Wells on the wing for the next however many years would be a scary defensive proposition. Number 2 guy was Cam Johnson of the Brooklyn Nets, who's someone that Grizzly fans have wanted for a long, long time. Probably a shooter in the same ilk as Desmond Bane. I don't know he's the same offensive player that Bane is, but in terms of pure shooting, I think he gives you a lot of the same stuff, and he is taller and longer than Desmond Bane. And he has not championship experience, but he has NBA Finals experience with the Suns in 2021. I think that would be a good fit. The number 1 guy is someone that some fans might know about, others might not as much. But Deni Avdija from the Portland Trailblazers, who 5 years into the league, he's only 24 years old. He was a top 10 pick of the Wizards back in 2019 or 2020, I forgot. But last year put up 17 points a game, good percentages from 3, career high rebounds. Kind of like a Swiss Army knife player that can do a little bit of everything. And when you look at his trajectory and how much better he's gotten since he came into the league, I think like I say, he's only 24, but he's already played 5 years in the league. I think there's runway for him to get even better, which is a scary thought. And the cherry on top with him is that he is under contract for the next 3 years at $39 million combined. So huge bargain deal. Again, I put that segment together last night, and then Portland goes out and makes a trade 5 minutes later, so I don't know what direction they're going to go in, but for a player that could do all the things, and obviously he's a good defender, I forgot to bring that up too, for a player that could do all the things that he does on the contract he's on with, like I said, the room to still get even better, if they could get him, I think that would be a real home run. Honorable mentions, I'll mention them real quick from this list. Derek White, Bobby Portis, P.J. Washington, Najee Marshall, Malik Monk, and the pipe dream that I don't really know. I don't know how I feel about it, but I think you got to call on is Devin Booker. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Avdia, Grizzlies fans should know who he is because he went off for 31 in that game against them late in the season.
That's
where
right.
He made like
Yeah.
5 threes and lit them up, especially early in that game. I like that list. Everyone knows Cam Johnson. I talk about I love Cam Johnson. I think Cam Johnson is the perfect fit for this team.
The head of the Cam Johnson fan
and
club.
I would take him in a heartbeat. I don't know. And then I would love him, but yeah, I don't even know if Portland knows what the hell they're doing right now with the trade they made last night. So I don't even know. Who knows? Yeah, you could call Portland because they may be dumb enough to just make moves that they don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah, the trade last night confused me. I get, we've heard for a while that they were going to get off. Yeah, they have too many young guards because they've got Simons, they've got Shannon Sharp, they've got Stuart Henderson, who I imagine they're still going to make a thing. So I think that we knew they were probably going to trade Simons for a while, but they traded Simons and 2 second-round picks, which I don't know, the value of that is whatever you think it is.
Right.
For Drew Holiday, who is, don't get me wrong, Drew Holiday is a great player, has been for a while, but he's older and still has, I think, 3 years and $100 million on his deal. I don't know if Chauncey Billups just wanted like an OG, like a vet for some of the young guards, but
that's what I think.
Unless they're going to reroute him and they have a package in mind to reroute him again, because remember he got rerouted through Portland when the Damian Lillard trade happened with Milwaukee, and then got sent to Boston. But yeah, that's a bit of a confusing one. There's another shoe to drop there, I think, but maybe they just want him in the locker room. Who knows?
Every one of those names you brought up obviously would, if it was possible to obtain them, it would be a different package. I mean, some may be similar. So I'm asking you a tough question here because they're all different. But generally, what do you think it would take for the Grizzlies to have to give up to get one of those maybe top 3 guys that you talked about?
I think number 16 has to be on the table. And to be clear, I think that basically any draft pick for them right now is on the table, with the exception of maybe that 2026 pick that they got from the Magic, which belongs to either Phoenix or Washington, especially after the Durant trade. That pick looks like it could be really, really good. But I think any other pick is on the table. As far as putting the whole package together, like, do you throw in? I think one of Vince Williams or G.G. Jackson will not be on this team after this week. I will say that because I think one of them probably gets thrown into a deal. Conchar is a logical guy as far as making salaries work. The tough one to me to give up, and maybe you do depending on the package, but I would think long and hard before trading him, is Brandon Clark. And I know a lot of people have brought him up, but I just think that, especially with Edey potentially missing however long he might at the start of next season, I just think that's a valuable defensive piece, especially if his knee is fully recovered. So, yeah, I think one of the young wings that maybe their stock is not as high as it used to be, Conchar, draft picks. But to be clear, I don't think anyone outside of Jaren, and maybe Wells is really all that untouchable on this roster right now. So it's going to be interesting.
Cole Anthony's is the best contract. That's the one to use.
I don't think he'll be here either.
It's a team option for the second year, so it's basically an expiring deal. So I'm throwing Cole Anthony's contract and draft picks everywhere. Yeah. And if it requires one of the two between GG and Vince, okay, like if we've ever getting a really good player at that point. But I'm trying to do it with Cole Anthony's contract and draft picks for those guys that you just mentioned.
Yeah, and then Conchar, depending on if a team is wants a friendly deal to match salaries and whatnot. But yeah, I know some people have floated the idea of keeping Cole Anthony. If they did already have Scottie Pippen Jr., I think Cole Anthony is a perfectly fine, pretty good backup point guard. But that's also why I thought about last night when I was thinking, okay, if they make the pick, who are some guys I would like in that range? I named Nee Clifford from Colorado State. One name that I love in that range as a player is Jace Richardson from Michigan State. I think he is great, but adding another 6'1" guard to this team just does not feel like it accomplishes a lot of what they need. So kind of same principle with Cole Anthony. A third small backup point guard. I just don't know the point of having him on the roster.
Like I talk about this, like Cole Anthony's contract can be traded for Cam Johnson's contract. Like I am talking to Brooklyn, like please, how many of these draft picks we just acquired do we have to throw in with Cole Anthony to get this deal done?
And I know Brooklyn, during the season at least, reportedly, they were playing hardball with Cam Johnson. Feel like in the off season it might be a little bit easier to get something done, especially around the draft when maybe there's a player on the board in that range that they want. So, yeah, Cole Anthony is a very, very good kind of chess piece to use in trade talks for sure.
Yeah, that's another question. You talked about what is Portland doing? What are the Nets doing? I mean, I don't know what the Nets. I don't know what's going through their minds for the last couple of years, what they want to do. So yeah, I would love that. And I had no idea that those salaries matched up with Cole Anthony.
They don't match. They match enough.
They match enough. Okay, but I had no idea they were even close. Matt Infield joining us from Action News 5, joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. All right, you alluded to it a little bit with Neat Clifford, and okay, give me some other names that Memphis you think could entertain at the 16th pick. They could move up, they could move down. Who knows what will happen. But right now they have the 16th pick for tomorrow night. What direction do you think they go in?
I feel like it's got to be. It probably depends on who's there. Some other names that I've seen that I'm not as familiar with. The French guy, Noah I don't even know how to say his last name. I know he's playing on a team in the German League Finals right now. I've seen him floated there a little bit. There's another name that's slipping my mind.
Coward?
Well, but yeah. The kid from Washington State, right? Yeah. Did see him as well. And it's interesting because it's been brought up, but a lot of teams have been working out players for weeks now. The Grizzlies have had to kind of scramble because they just got this pick last week. Now they're flying prospects for workouts and whatnot. So I like Clifford a lot, though. I will say that because he, again, is kind of a Swiss Army knife player, a little bit smaller because he's 6'5" as well, like Desmond Bane was. And I'm not saying that he would be a Desmond Bane replacement per se, but when you look at what he did last year, like 19 points per game, 9 rebounds, 4.5 assists, all Mountain West defensive team. And again, I mentioned it last night, older prospect that you're not going to have to worry about developing and let him sit on the bench. Like, he's 23. He could probably play right now. I think they should be going for some sort of player that can get it done on both ends of the floor, and preferably someone that could do it on the wing, because that feels like one of the bigger needs right now. And unless there's a big guy there that you really, really love, with the idea that Edey's going to miss the start of next season, but preferably someone on the perimeter. And someone that can play right away, which is why I like Neat Clifford a lot.
Yeah, and just to clarify, they have been working out players for weeks now, but they were working out guys that were more for the second round
players.
Right. So now scrambling, as you said, Matt, to try to get some guys in there. I'm not sure if that's over now since the draft is tomorrow, or at least begins tomorrow. But they had to scramble to get some of those names that could be picked at number 16 after not having that pick. It should be a lot of fun. A lot. I think one thing that we can conclude, and I don't think this is going too far out on a limb, is that after they made a trade, which I think most people like the trade, you don't like giving up Desmond Bane, but what they got in return, that people are happy about that, but they know that there's other things that have to happen to make that trade make sense. And so that's why we think it'll be active for the Grizzlies. Whether or not it's tomorrow or not, we know that there's going to be a lot of things that are happening. And it's going to be a fun time. It went from it's going to be maybe somewhat quiet, and then all of a sudden you get that first-round pick and the trade of Des Bane, and now Katie barred the door what could happen for the Grizzlies, right?
Yeah, and to me, I think that you could take it either two ways after you trade Desmond Bane. And a name that I didn't mention that has been very popular among Grizzlies fans was Trey Murphy III from the Pelicans. And the reason I didn't mention that name is, to me, he probably goes for a similar package for what you just got for Desmond Bane. So then at that point, the only way to make that trade make sense is if you are absolutely clearly convinced that Trey Murphy III is a straight-up upgrade over Desmond Bane. Because if you're not sure about that, you don't make that deal. So you go one of two ways now. The direction I think they're going to go in is you give up a little bit of quote-unquote star power in Bane and use that to add more depth and more quality good players, a la kind of I alluded to a couple weeks ago, the Indiana Pacers model, where you just got a bunch of guys that can shoot, defend, and know their roles around your two stars in Ja and Jaren. I think that's the direction that they're going to go, is sacrifice the star power for depth and more good players. The other direction you could go, in theory, is you get someone who is absolutely, unequivocally an upgrade over Desmond Bane, and that would be like Devin Booker direction, where you get a third bona fide, no question, no doubt about it, star. Again, for a lot of reasons, I don't think that is the direction they're going to go. But, I just don't think you could be in the middle where it's like, okay, we trade Desmond Bane, and now we're going to flip that for one player who may or may not be better than him. I think that they're going to go the route of depth, adding more good players. And I think that for that reason, there's probably multiple moves to be made. I think that it's pretty reasonable to think that there are at least two trades to be made here, if not more. So, yeah, there are shoes to drop, and it's going to be fun to watch.
He is Matt Enfield, Action News 5 sports anchor reporter. Follow him on Twitter at Matt_Enfield. Thank you, Matt. Always appreciate it.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, take care. The Trey Murphy thing bothers me because they could have had Trey Murphy, right? That was the whole deal, and they ended up trading with New Orleans and ended up taking Zaire Williams. I don't like that. I give up. Even if the guy's like a standout now, I can't give into that, knowing that we could have had him for a song and a dance, and now all of a sudden it would take a lot to probably get him. And no, he does not replace Desmond Bane in my mind. And Devin Booker, I don't know Matt Ishbia from a hole in the wall, but I'm telling you, they're going to build around Devin Booker. He's not being dealt.
Well, they've said that's. I mean, they probably, but also I don't even know how the Grizzlies could put together enough salary to get Devin Booker in a trade.
Right.
It would be.
But to throw in your salary,
it would have to be. I mean, without Ja or Jaren included, like I don't even know who that would be on their roster to get there.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, he's at $53 million next year. And again, it goes back. Now you'd have, if you have Booker, Jaren, and Ja all together, that's just not going to make sense for the Grizzlies, money-wise. Moving can be stressful, but the folks at Black Tie Moving, well, they're the professionals. They're the experts. They take a lot of that stress and worry out of the process for you. All you got to do is give them a call, 901-316-6196, or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis. Talk to the experts at Black Tie Moving. They'll come up with a plan working with you to fit your needs, fit your budget. They'll give you no obligation quote up front. It's just a first-class experience all the way around every single time when you use the experts, the professionals from Black Tie Moving. Don't try and do it yourself. Don't ask your lazy friends. Get the professionals from Black Tie, 901-316-6196 or blacktiemoving.com/Memphis.
This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
All 6 city acquisition, V20,000 miles per year, K4 SE137-210, MSRP 24,340, K5 S536-6209, MSRP 29,170, Sportage SG 271-1755, MSRP 34,115, Telluride SG 66-2001, MSRP 41,060. Must finance through KFA, excludes tax on license with approved credit dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 07-224.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear the Gossett Kia summer sticker sales event is on now at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah.
It sure is, Randy, and listen to this. I've got a 2025 Kia K4 LXS at $150 a month. That's $5 a day for a new ride. 2025 Kia K5 LXS, $265 a month. 2025 Kia Sportage X-Line, $275 a month. Plus 2025 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive, $359 per month. All $49.99 due at signing, 24-month lease.
Plus a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty in the all-new 2026 EV9 with 72 months at 3.49 available.
So if you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Hi, it's the Herd. If you own a home, here's an interesting fact for you. Today, American homeowners are sitting on a record amount of home equity. That's the part of your home you own outright. Rocket Mortgage can help you turn your home equity into cash, and that can help you fund a home renovation, pay for your kids' college tuition, or pay off and consolidate high-interest debt from credit cards. To learn more, call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com today.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, Equal Housing Lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS, ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough from everyone home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and the staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village. Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342.
There's no place like home, Town Village.
Wally Hatchet serves breakfast all day and Southern comfort food for lunch. Hatchet fans love our huge omelet, breakfast Sammys, scrambles, and chicken and waffles. For lunch, check out the Mississippi pot roast, chicken fried steak, grilled meatloaf are one of our best-selling burgers, lipstick on a cow. Pickup, delivery, and catering are also available. Visit WallyHatchets.com to order online. Wally Hatchets is located at 6439 Summer Avenue and open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Wally Hatchets. Count your blessings, not your calories.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jacobs Forest Home. Here once again, our great guest and Eli Soul.
Welcome back, everyone. Final segment here on this Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Tomorrow, of course, round 1 of the NBA draft, and Michael Cole will join us from the Commercial Appeal at 8:05. We'll talk Tigers basketball with Parth Upadhyay at 9:25. He's written about Dane Danger. I haven't had a chance to read that story yet, but it's over at the Daily Memphian. Couple of things. First of all, from the NFL, before too long, camps will be opening up. So about a month? Yeah, I would say about a month from now. You have the NFL camps opening up, and then the preseason games roll in. Pete Prisco from CBS Sports has put his annual 100 top 100 NFL players list together for 2025. His number one player coming into 2025, Patrick Mahomes. Still got Mahomes at number one in your mind, Eli?
Because of position, yeah. I mean, it's hard to go away from that.
He has Myles Garrett number 2, though. Saquon Barkley, after the year he had, number 3. Josh Allen, 4. Justin Jefferson, 5. And then 6 through 10, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Patrick Surtain II, and Micah Parsons from your Dallas Cowboys. So 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, again, based on position, and obviously those guys are all pretty darn good. I would it's hard not to go that route, but Mahomes, certainly with what he has accomplished, can't argue much with him being at the top of that list.
How much better is Myles Garrett than a TJ Watt or of a who's the guy with the Raiders just re-signed? Crosby or any of those guys. I mean, is he significantly better than those guys? That he's 2 on the list and those guys aren't sniffing the top 10? You would say yes?
Yeah, I mean, significant. I mean, it's not like he's, there's not a huge gap, but there's a gap. Like it's just like when Aaron Donald was in there. There's a gap. He's just better than those guys.
Okay. Cal Raleigh at it again. The big dumper hit his 32nd home run yesterday in the Mariners' 11-2 win over the Twins. It was his 4th straight game with a home run. He is on pace to hit 40 home runs before the All-Star break, which would surpass the record of 39 by Barry Bonds during the 2001 season, when Bonds finished with a single-season record 73.
He is, this is incredible. He's on pace for 67 home runs, and still most people don't have a clue who he is. The dude now, he just he just killed the Cubs over the weekend, but this is becoming a hell of a story. I mean, you're talking about a catcher here who is on pace for 67 home runs.
Yeah, Johnny Bench, who is a Hall of Famer, as most people know, very complimentary of Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh's also a switch hitter, switch hitting catcher.
He, normally nowadays, like catchers in the major leagues, obviously DH is some, but like he's basically behind the plate every day. And most of these catchers, as I've don't come close to that, but he is an absolute home run machine right now. And if that dude, everybody made such the big deal about Aaron Judge, when he broke the American League record, and here's this dude's on pace for 67. Again, he's getting talked about some, but the fact that he plays in Seattle, people don't ever see him play. And most people, you say the name Cal Raleigh, and they have no idea who you're actually talking to. There's even a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, I think you're right about people, but the pitchers in the American League or the National League, whoever they're playing, they know who he is now. So maybe early in the season, it was like, who is this guy? But now they know who he is. And so I would imagine it's not going to be real easy for him to continue on this pace because pitchers and their game plan going into and Seattle's got some hitters. They got some other hitters. So one of the emphasis will be now to not give this guy anything to hit. But again, having an advantage of being able to hit from both sides of the plate. As a catcher who already has 32 bombs, that pace may slow down, but he's going to still have, he's probably going to be a 60 home run guy.
It's not like pitchers didn't know who the guy was. The guy's been good for a couple of years now. He hit over 30 home runs the last 2 years. Pitchers know who he is, and they certainly, and he's doing it again to them.
What was his home run total last year?
34.
Again, he's
got
that. He's
30
got that
the year
now.
before, and 27 the year before that. Like the dude's been good for a long time.
Yeah, I maybe home run hitting. What's he hitting for average this year?
Is it 278?
Yeah, he's hitting for average. I don't know. Did he hit that close to 278 the last couple of years?
He hit 220 and 230.
Yeah, that's my point.
But he was 12th in MVP voting last year. Like it's not like that for the player. I'm not talking about players. Players know who the hell the guy is, and they can't get him out. Like it's just the people. Like
no, that's what I said.
Fans of baseball have no idea.
No,
who
that's
the
what
guy
I said.
is.
I said the fans know who he is. The players certainly know who he is. But I'm telling you, the pitchers and their emphasis may not have been on Cal Raleigh. It's on Rodriguez. It's on a lot of different guys in that lineup. So maybe it's been more of an emphasis like, okay, this is the guy we have to attack. We have to go after him. We mentioned earlier Tyrese Halliburton and the comments he made from his recovery room in the hospital after undergoing the Achilles tendon surgery yesterday. If you were wondering, he was asked or talked about this with his posts on social media. He'd say, I do it again and again after that to fight for the city and my brothers. He was very emotional as he made that statement and posted to social media. For the chance to do something special, I do it again. And I'll tell you, I think most athletes would do that as well, even though they're jeopardizing a season. Who knows? Some in the past, you tore your Achilles, you're jeopardizing your career. But I think most athletes, to get a chip that close, you get taste it, would do it all again, just like Tyrese Halliburton. That's going to do it for us today. I want to thank Lang Whitaker, Matt Infield, and Mickey Barker for joining us on the show. Again, tomorrow, DeMichael Cole will talk Grizzlies and NBA draft, Parthu Pajai on Memphis Tigers basketball. We'll get it started bright and early at 7 a.m. Waldo and Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next. Once again, Brian Dacus, Elijah Seegers will be in for Dave today. For Eli Savoy and for Elijah Seegers, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great day, everybody.